Welcome, everybody, to another XoneBros podcast. We are the XoneBros. This is your positive gaming and Xbox community podcast. As always, I'm joined by the bros, the XoneBros. First, it's Mr. McSpicy.
Hello, how's it going?
Then there's Jordan the Man.
Hey.
And last but not least, I am X1. Welcome to today's show. This is podcast number 324. It's been a big week. It's been a couple big weeks. It is the middle of summer. Usually summer slows down, but not this year. Just ramps up in the gaming world.
Well, because everybody's suing everybody. And it's
Everybody's suing everybody.
It's amazing.
Shall we actually start with that? Let's start with that. Let's start with the big Fortnite news. Jordan, do you want to actually review real quick what's happening with Fortnite? And then we'll just get our discussion and opinions on Fortniting the Apple commercial.
Basically, what happened? So
Fortniting the Apple commercial.
what happened is, so Epic Games, the developer of Fortnite, is now suing Apple and Google because both Apple and Google pulled Fortnite from their stores. The reason they pulled it from their stores is because Epic Games Fortnite put in an update that basically allows their users to directly buy V-Bucks from them rather than buying it through the Play Store or through the Apple Store. Reason being is the article that I was reading, it says it can be up to a 30% charge that Apple and Google levy on each transaction. So
transaction within your app.
My theory, and I told Mark this right when you left the room, I think...
when you leave, we talk, David.
I think what happened is Epic got the bill and was like, they took how much? Fix it.
Yeah. What? Wait, what? Okay, let's put in a little backdoor, little thing right there where people can spend some money on us.
What?
Yeah.
And me and Mark were talking, and then Dave, this is when you came back, and we were actually talking, like, let's just say Fortnite, I mean, I would not be surprised if they make billions a month, right? You know, who knows? But if you take 30% of it, like, 30% of 100, 30, you know what I mean? When you get into the billions, it actually really is a lot of money that they're taking.
I'm sure, like, annually, it is definitely a billions number.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. So, and to be honest with you, I don't blame them for saying, hey, you're taking a bunch of crap from us.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that, I mean, they obviously probably knew that this is going to take place because they're violating the terms of service, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah.
And they're just patching in a backdoor entrance to their wallets. That's basically what they're saying.
Do you think
they're trying to avoid the mafia, essentially?
The shakedown money.
Yeah.
Do you think that they saw what happened with Microsoft with Game Pass? They saw maybe the response on social media to that, and they said, "Okay, now's our chance. Let's see if we can break
Jump
this.
in.
Let's see if we can break the walled garden that is Apple."
I mean, the thing is I think what Fortnite has over Game Pass and the xCloud, right, that was denied from Apple, is Fortnite has millions upon millions of players, and your phone market is probably, I would argue,
do you think it's their number one? It's got to be. It's going to be close.
It's got to be close. I wouldn't be
Candy
surprised.
Crush is up there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but for Epic,
for
Epic.
Fortnite,
Gotcha.
as pure numbers, are cell phones the biggest number? I wouldn't be surprised if they were. I don't know, right? But I mean, that's big. But
the number they said was 1 billion phones. Like they're locked out of 1 billion phones. That's what that video that Fortnite really free #free Fortnite.
So
right?
the big thing was the Fortnite did the Apple commercial. So Fortnite released an in-game commercial that they put together of the original Apple commercial, where Apple came in and was like, the PC users is like 1984. There's only one option. They're being programmed, and they came in and broke the screen and said, "Tomorrow we are announcing Macintosh." Right?
Yeah, it's for nerds. That's a very epic commercial.
Yeah, it's really famous. So Fortnite made one. And then
actually, I'll pull it up while we're talking.
Pull it up while we're talking.
same
And then
for
at
just
the
Fortnite.
end, said Fortnite is keeping us out. Of
I
their
honestly,
app.
I think
#free Fortnite.
I think this might have been a long time coming, because in the wording that they put at the end, they basically said they're tired of the monopoly of the App Store.
That's what they said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a
interesting.
couple thoughts, and I don't know. So I know, like, a lot of people are discussing, particularly with Apple, like antitrust laws, and this is way above my pay grade. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how any of this works, but I would imagine it's why Google.
Hey, I just noticed something. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you notice the apple has the cut out of his head, like the Apple logo?
And it's a worm.
Yeah,
It's a worm.
That's funny.
Sorry, continue.
So Google's representative said, "Look, and they stressed we're an open platform." and so Fortnite's still on Android, just not in the Play Store, and I think that's to try to avoid. They stress that so that you can't be sued for antitrust laws. I don't think they necessarily have a case against Google. I'm not a lawyer. I think this is probably just more PR than anything. Apple, I think they're going to try an antitrust case. I think antitrust cases traditionally are really hard, and really it's only the government that ever succeeds in antitrust cases against these big companies. And I don't know. It's just fairly interesting. I'm of two minds. I want games to be everywhere, but I think if a platform owns its software, I mean, it has a right to dictate the terms of that and what isn't on that.
Well,
I don't know. It's a tricky thing, but it is very interesting. Regardless, I'm fascinated to see how this plays out.
I wonder if there's more going on behind the scenes, because that first sentence that says Epic Games has defied the App Store monopoly, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I wonder if this is a long time coming, because I think you're right. I mean, I do feel like Apple has the right to take a percentage because you're using their platform via the App Store too.
Well, you got to think this is Epic.
Like I understand that, but I wonder if there's more going on, like if they're taking bigger cuts or.
Well, here's the thing,
you know
though.
I mean?
No, here's the thing. Epic is playing this game already on the PC side of things, and Epic created the Epic Game Store. And what was their number one selling point? We're not going to take as much from developers as Steam is, right?
They do to this day take less.
And so it's just interesting. The thing that I do enjoy about this, I think that I respect the way that Fortnite-ed the Apple commercial. I think it's hilarious. They've been running it 24 hours on Twitter. Like, if you're anywhere on Twitter, at the very top, it shows live. It shows the Fortnite hashtag free Fortnite video up at the top there. It'll just be interesting to see. I don't know how this all ends up. Spicy, any thoughts or opinions on?
No, this is funny because last week I actually, after the show last week, I was like, this was great. I got to complain about Apple, and which I really love to do. I like to complain about that company because I really feel like we're buying a $1,200 phone that we don't own, that we only lease. We're buying a full price for it, and we never own it. Like, if we buy a car, we can change the wheels. We can change some things, right? We could.
I see what you're saying.
If you buy any product, really, you can change things or add things or fix things if it breaks down. You can't even take it to a tech store to fix your phone. You have to take it to a licensed Apple store, which is just them. You know, so I feel like Apple has brainwashed everybody to think that you are buying their phone, which in fact you are not. And this is another case. I feel as this is Apple flexing their muscles a little bit to hurt the consumer in a way. I don't know, because it's because
is it hurting the consumer?
Yes, a billion people aren't playing it.
Yes. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about. Okay, I see what you're saying.
But and at the same time, I mean, they're taking the 30% cut, which if Epic wants, they'd have to raise their prices, etc. There's a whole thing with that, which it's digital, so you never. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Apple just because I really feel like they've brainwashed everybody into a certain way of thinking, which is really smart by them. But at the same time, they're now competing with a company that is making billions per year. Not competing, but that
has the lawyers to take.
They have. Epic has money. And so
does Microsoft. Why do you think Microsoft didn't go this route with their Game Pass? Fortnite did it like immediately.
We'll talk about it later, but I think Microsoft needs to maybe hire Fortnite's PR team. But yeah, this is all PR. Right?
This is
PR. Yeah,
and that's all. I don't think the courts is probably where you're going to win this battle. I think you're going to win this battle in the PR realm. Here's the thing. Even after last week we talked about Game Pass, I'm not leaving. My solution, if I want to play mobile, is I will buy a Android tablet. But I'm not leaving the Apple Microsoft ecosystem over that yet. Now, if cloud gaming would just have to become so huge that I have no choice, right? But I mean, with so many Androids, with the ability to get cheap Android tablets, you could just buy an Android tablet, and that's my solution to that. Again, same with the Epic thing. If you're a Fortnite player, if your kids are on Fortnite and they can no longer play on their iPad, well, you can get an $80 Amazon tablet, and there you go.
Yeah. Which is funny. You're going to Android for that, which I think Apple's suing Google as well, right?
Yeah,
Aren't
just
they
for the
all
Play
suing
Store
each
though.
other?
So
I mean,
technically, through the Amazon store, you'll be able to get Fortnite.
And with Android phones,
'Cause it's
you
open.
can still, without breaking warranty, you can still unlock the developer mode and then just download the APK, and you can still install that any program that's available anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I wonder-
which you cannot
so
do
and-
it without jailbreaking an Apple phone,
and a solution
which
on,
voids your warranty.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Anyways, it's going to be interesting to see. Again, I think this is a PR move more than anything. However, I do respect. I think Epic did it as a PR thing. This was genius.
Yeah.
Like this was so cool.
I'm going to be honest. People might disagree with me, but I like it when big companies go after each other. It's like the heavyweight fight in the tech industry. You know what I mean?
This is like
it's
pay-per-view.
This is like the ultimate battle royale. I tweeted that out this week. Microsoft, Apple, Fortnite, the ultimate battle royale.
Well, and
Game on.
Apple's relationship with companies is really interesting. Like Samsung and Apple would sue each other every other month.
country, right?
Yet the parts like Apple would use Samsung Flash.
They're like integrated.
memory in their phones.
Yeah.
You know, it's
both companies are integrated with each other.
Very
well, it's the same.
deeply
It's the same.
integrated.
Let's look at the console wars, quote unquote, right? Like Microsoft and Xbox. Microsoft is using Blu-ray technology, which Sony owns, and Sony is using, and there's more parts than that, I'm sure, right? But Sony is using Azure technology, which Microsoft owns, right? Like so, it's a win-win for everybody.
Is it?
Well, look
Because do you know how? No, it's a win-win for the lawyers.
Yeah,
Because they're just like, they got their yachts now. You know. Yeah. It's just
very interesting. It's it's just interesting.
Fortnite. They looked at the numbers. They looked at everything. They looked how much they were losing enough money to make this
Worth it.
worth it.
Well, and what
It is a risk, though, and here's the risk. The risk, and this is what they're calculated. Are there enough angry little kids out there that will complain to their parents when we take this away? And can you sustain that? Because an Apple's risk, if they don't want to budge, Apple's risking and saying, okay, we'll weather this storm for a couple of weeks and they'll have to come back, right? And it's a game of chicken. Who blinks first?
Yeah.
From a PR standpoint, though, Fortnite is crushing it. Like, I just think that commercial is genius. I think it's a
it
jab
really was.
at Apple.
Well, what's so genius about it is, like, I understand why they got kicked off the platform of Apple and Google, because they did break terms of service, right?
Yeah.
Which, there's no argument there. But
I like how they did it. Like, let's just put it in there, see what happens.
They've
See if
probably
they
been
catch
like
it.
this for like a
Float
month.
it.
And then Apple was reading their books, and they're like, wait a minute. He changes his eyeglasses. We didn't get the $250 million from last month.
What the?
Let me make some calls.
There's a little button on the accountant's desk.
But what
And they just hit it, and it like instantly deletes your app
It's like
from
the
the store.
easy button from Staples.
No, what Fortnite did, like even just with the hashtag free Fortnite, they're making Apple and Google look bad.
Yeah.
Right.
More so Apple.
Even though
Yeah.
technically,
Well, this was
more so
directed at
Apple. Even though technically they did break terms of service, right? But anyway, that's why I think there might be some more stuff going on in the background or something.
Dude, it
like
would
that.
be great if Apple made a response video with something.
They can't.
Like,
Like,
it would be hilarious.
I don't know. You're fighting memes, and memes
win.
Epic wins memes. Like
Me-
they,
memes
their
win.
whole game is built on memes.
memes win.
They have a whole
Every
R&D
time.
department of memes.
They really do. They just search the internet for memes and then add it as a dance in their game. You can't. I don't think Apple has a chance. They have the money to, and they'll hire some.
But who do you think has more money?
No,
Apple.
Apple does. Apple's
You think
Apple,
Apple has?
Yeah,
one of the
Apple.
richest businesses in the world. Yeah.
Epic's no joke.
If
but
it's
Apple
not, if
wins.
it's not
They
number,
have-
if it's not number one, it's number two. It flips between them and Microsoft.
and it's liquidable cash
Yeah.
too. They have just money.
Where does Epic
They were the
stand on that
first.
scale,
They were the
though?
first stock to go to reach some certain level. That's huge.
Do you
You
know
know-
where Epic is on that list? Because I'd be curious. Because they make.
Oh, they make a lot of money, but it's not. It's you got to realize.
I mean, at that point, is
How much money
is
Apple's
money
bringing
even
in.
worth anything when you
Well,
have so much?
You know the Dark Knight when the Joker has that big pile of money that he burns? That's Apple's cash. That he slides
Well,
down.
that's why I wonder. Like, I mean, could this just go on for a while? Because both companies have a lot of money. I mean, does money mean anything at that point?
Well,
I mean,
it
do you
does. I
just
mean,
spend
money
it?
Money
is
always
money.
wins.
Yeah, and especially cash. Cash is king.
I mean, look at the Joker. He just slid down it and burned it.
I know. He's like, I want half. man.
They're both standing there lighting dollar bills on fire and seeing who's going to stop first. I got
That's
more.
really what they're doing.
I got more. Here we go.
But there's more money coming in. Anyways, that's real. It's fascinating.
It's the tech version of the heavyweight pay-per-view fight.
It really is.
So that was a big news story that dropped later in this week. This Fortnite, Apple. It's indirectly related to Xbox and gaming. It's not directly, but the next story is directly related to Xbox.
Chat brings up a good point. Do you think Fortnite puts in a Steve Jobs skin? I would think they would do a Tim Cook skin, and they
Tim
were
Cook,
like totally mess it up.
And mess it up, yeah.
That would be hilarious, and call it Tom Rook or something.
Yeah. They'd call it Tim Crook.
Tim Crook.
That's what they'd call it. Boom. Hey,
Hey,
Epic,
everybody.
I want credit for that.
Yeah, they won't give it to you.
Credit XoneBros.
Fortnite does not give you credit.
It is documented, and then we can sue them like all the dancer kids that have sued Epic. Right?
Yeah. The thing about that one though is they entered a contest in Fortnite and still got screwed. Like
I know.
like Fortnite is the China of video games.
Well, did they get screwed though? Because what?
Yes, because they got nothing unless by legal means.
Yeah, when they made so much money off of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, your dance was in their game, and they called it your name, right?
Okay.
They named your dance was named after you.
it's
And that was the
also-
competition that you signed up
It's
for.
a dance behind a money wall.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay, good point there.
So and Fortnite doesn't care.
That is
it's
true.
like every time they get sued, it's a parking ticket. They're making that much money.
It's a parking ticket that they just put in their glove compartment, right? Their glove box.
They'll just pay that $30 million, and they'll make another
Well, do they even do
$500
that?
million
So,
in a
like,
couple weeks.
So when little tangent here, when I was in high school, I got a couple parking tickets for the high school parking lot, and I just never
those are-
paid them.
so
you know
they-
what I mean?
they
Like,
hold
That
you-
means you don't graduate.
Yeah,
No, yeah, but
because
they didn't.
they hold your transcripts and stuff.
No, they didn't.
Same one. I worked at two different universities, and both of them I got multiple tickets. I don't pay. What are you going to do?
Well,
I'm
that's
not
why.
graduating
Do you think?
from here.
Yeah. Do you think
You're
that's
Fortnite.
What? Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
what
I
are we
still
gonna
got all
do?
my transcripts and stuff from high school. Do you think like Fortnite just goes, just throw it away? What are they gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
it's just money. Man, if you had that much money,
It's just money.
You
but
know what Epic
do you know
is?
how many zeros are behind that? Just money.
when
phrase?
you have just
Epic
money.
is the homeless guy that we saw at E3 that just walked across the street in
And
and
held
traffic.
people
held
off.
held
Flip
his
people
spear,
off.
yeah. He's just like, I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I respected that
And
guy. actually.
we looked at them like this dude's crazy, but we also respected
yeah,
him.
like
Yeah,
that
that guy's
does-
got balls.
He takes what he wants.
Let's move on to something that directly affects Xbox. A news story this week that I want to get out of the way before we jump into news, and that is that Halo Infinite has been delayed. Halo came out, and in a statement, Jordan, do you have the statement in front of you?
Yeah, that's right here. I
in
have like 4 statements in front of me.
Should we read this? We won't read the statement. We don't need to. But basically, they said,
Okay, fair enough.
go ahead.
Jordan pulled it up.
Jordan,
and
No,
then-
I
Go
wasn't
ahead.
going to read it. I just pulled it up to reference because I got a whole bunch
"Oh,
of
okay."
them here.
They basically said that because of COVID, it's not where they want it to be, and they're delaying
COVID and other things.
and other things. They're delaying the game. I actually did a video this week on the XoneBros channel.
You were pretty. I'm gonna
Just
say
about it.
You're pretty bold. You're
Yeah.
like, I want blood.
Dude,
Halo Infinite should come out now. I want blood. And I was like,
some people agreed with me, but
whoa.
most people disagreed with me. So Halo Infinite, it's being delayed. This was the launch title for Xbox One, so this is a big deal. Simply because it was its flagship. It's the flagship game. It's launching with Xbox Series X. If you were on the fence with an Xbox Series X, if maybe you weren't in the Xbox ecosystem, this is kind of one less reason to get an Xbox Series X, at least at launch. I think people like us, it doesn't affect us. We're getting one no matter what. If you're an Xbox person, you've always planned on getting a Series X. You want the best hardware. You're going to get it. But from that standpoint, let's just go over it. Let's just talk about it. Give our opinions on what happens. Halo. Like Spicy said, I was bold. I would like to clarify some stuff though. So what I published was a reaction, like
Sure,
it
an
live
immediate
happened.
yeah.
So you don't have time to like parse your words or I wasn't as clear with my statement. I'm not talking when I said heads should roll. I'm not talking about the developers. It's not the developers' fault. I am talking about the PR. Whoever's in charge of the PR. Jordan alluded to this with Fortnite. Epic's PR is fantastic. I think this is a mistake from a PR standpoint, from the bottom to top, and I think it looks. I think it makes Xbox look bad overall. Is it the right decision? Absolutely. You don't want a game to launch that's not finished, that's broken, that doesn't look good. But here's what I mean by PR. 2 weeks ago, we had this video game, Halo Infinite. It was the marquee showcase game of your event where you showed off gameplay. You did not have on the screen work in progress like you had other games. You did not have a scream like, game may change, blah, blah. This, for all intents and purposes, was the final product that we saw. Then you get a little bit of pushback online. The graphics aren't where they need to be. The game's not launching with ray tracing. We already knew that from multiple interviews previous to the game. 2 weeks after that, because of COVID and other things, we're delaying it. I just think whoever made that there was a good opportunity that you could have said that right after showing your gameplay. Hey, this is coming in 2021. We want it to be like Cyberpunk. I think Cyberpunk handles the delay correctly. It's not where we want it to be. We want it to be better. COVID existed 2 weeks ago when you showed off the gameplay. COVID exists. Nothing changed in those 2 weeks. It just feels like one of two things. The game is not ready, obviously, number one, or it was ready and they didn't expect the backlash that they got for the graphic stuff, which, if that's the case, that makes me a little bit worried about 343 handling Halo Infinite. Is it as good as it needs to be? It's the spiritual rebirth of this game. They need to nail it and nail it out of the park. And so I think whoever handled the PR should be reassigned at the very least. But is it the right decision? Yes, it's the right decision if the game is not ready. Of course. Like, you don't want to drop. That's the worst PR you could have. Anyways, there you go. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Should we? Let's jump Spicy, and then we'll jump Jordan. How about that?
Okay.
Spicy, Halo Infinite, delaying. Thoughts, impressions?
Well, it's disappointing.
It is. I think it is very disappointing.
But every delay is disappointing for a game that I want.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I told you this. I would much rather have a game that's perfect, that's mastered, that's polished, than have one that's like the Master Chief Collection. I do not want another Master Chief Collection. So the fact...
Can we recap for those that weren't on the Xbox community or ecosystem when Master Chief Collection? Can you just explain what happened with that?
Oh, yeah, the game was broken.
It was terrible.
And you couldn't do multiplayer. They had features in the game which is a really cool idea, where they had in the game you could go outside of the game for like clips and stuff. So you'd go to like a kiosk or a terminal, and then you'd go to, what was that called? Like Halo Channel or something like
Halo
that?
Waypoint. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. They had all these features that didn't work. I could not play with Jordan for a full month.
PvP.
PvP was broken.
It was terrible. It was
It was just really, really bad. Which is sad because Halo Master Chief Collection, that's one of my favorite franchises. It should have been a perfect game. And it was just released too soon.
And the only thing you could do is campaign, which we did, and then we were done with the game and moved on.
Wasn't the multiplayer aspect like outsourced and stuff, and that's where the disconnect was and everything. Anyways, it was a shame because it's a great series, and it was sad to have that kick in the balls that happened, right? So I do not want another one of those. I want a clean version of a game. I'm not as like concerned, or not concerned is the right word. I'm not as pissed off, I think, as you.
I'm not pissed off. I am. I think it's just not. I'm worried that we're repeating the Xbox One launch.
I disagree with that. With that. The Xbox launch. Oh, okay. So Halo has only launched with its flagship console once.
Correct. The first one.
And that was the first one in 2001. Every other Halo came out a year plus after the console, which I actually like because launch titles do not they're not as flushed and as polished as they could be with having a year of the hardware figured out, a little bit more. You got experience under the belt of what the hardware can do. I mean, look at a Gears game that came out at the beginning of the cycle versus the end of the cycle. Like it's just night and day how much better that game looks.
Even if you look at Halo 3 to 4 on the 360.
Good example. So having it launch as a flagship with your flagship console is a great opportunity that is missed when you don't do it, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think that I think a good Halo game will sell both subscriptions to Xbox Game Pass and consoles.
Agreed. Yeah.
Regardless of what time that comes out. That's and if it comes out a year later, I think the game is going to be much better if they have that time to figure things out and get the hardware under control and stuff like that. I'm okay with it. It's disappointing because I really wanted to play a Halo game, but we get delays all the time, and the games are still great.
Yeah, I just think I don't think it's the end of the world. I just think this does look bad for Microsoft, and I think particularly it coming so soon after you just it feels like a bait and switch almost. Like, hey, get hyped about this game. Yeah. Here's gameplay. And I know there's a difference between dev and marketing, and there's this fight, but someone needed to take charge, and maybe that was Phil Spencer that came in and said, hey guys, this is what we're doing. The game's not ready. But I think that should have been done before
Sure, I think
the E3 show 2 weeks ago, and I don't think it would have been a big deal at all. You know what I mean?
Sure. I think it should. I agree. It shouldn't have been on the show. Like, I don't think it should have been during the presentation, but it should have been 2 weeks or a month before saying it was delayed, and that's when we go, oh, yeah. And then when we see the stuff, we're like, yay.
Well, and it would have helped them. Like, I think two months ago, you show what you showed us at E3, and you're like, hey, this is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And we're delaying it to perfect it. But here's what we have so far we wanted to show you. Nobody's disappointed and everybody's excited, right? Like I think it was a missed opportunity here. And I think that's frustrating.
That's the extent I think it's just a missed opportunity. It's not the end of the world.
So I do want for this though, Jordan, there's a question. I want to get Jordan's opinion on this. There's a question here with Psychotic. Oh no. Never mind. I don't want to go to this question, but I want to ask Jordan. Jordan, does this make you worried? Because it does kind of make me worried about 343 that 343 maybe doesn't have the game where it needs to be, where we want it to be. Is this going to be a Halo Master Chief experience?
Well, there's just a lot of
what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like there's a lot of inconsistency. So, okay, I probably have a weird opinion, unpopular opinion, I don't know. So if you need to delay the game, you need to delay the game. I'm not upset that they're delaying it. It's right now we're thinking early 2021, right? Some, probably in the first quarter. Maybe they just said 2021. I would assume sometime in the first quarter
before March. Happy birthday to this guy.
So anyway, I'm not mad that they delayed the game. That's fine. I do think someone dropped the ball though, whether it's on the development team or the PR team or someone up high in
or an executive somewhere. Probably
at Microsoft. It's just
Tim Crook.
Tim Crook, yeah.
Tim Crook did it.
We're gonna do it. So the one popular theory on the internet right now is they're doing it because of the backlash, right? Everybody thinks that was the final product, and they got a lot of backlash, right, for graphics and whatever, right? I don't think that was the final product. Reason being is because after that, Aaron Greenberg came out and defended the product. He said this is a work in progress game, and he says, quote, I can tell you because we see build check-ins every week and they make progress week after week. It's just going to get better and better, end quote, right? And then everybody was telling them to watch, right? So we were under the impression we had an old build, right? Then there was the rumor that came out that multiplayer wasn't going to launch with the game. It was going to be a later edition, right?
That's right.
Just a rumor, but I figure rumors come from somewhere, right? The Halo 343 quickly denied that. They said, hey, this is not true.
Sure.
Blah, 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 right? And then shortly after that, we got the delay itself, right? I think, this is just my opinion, I think they knew the game was going to be delayed. And the reason I think that is because at that high of a level in development, you're talking AAA games, lots of money, big publisher, big developer, right?
That's why there's weekly check-ins.
I don't think they woke up Tuesday and looked at the clock and went, oh, is that the time?
Yeah.
And kind of freaked out and did all this.
So do you think the criticism had a lot to do with it then?
I don't think it was ready, and I think I don't think it was ready, and I think they were trying to get the hype for it and then announce a delay. And I think it just backfired. I think Mark was right. I think they should have delayed before. Look, when you're delaying a game at this, and I'm not on the development team, so I don't know for sure. This is just my opinion. When you're delaying a game of this magnitude, if you will, I feel like well before, you know what I mean? Like, because obviously you got schedules, you have time frames, you have, hey, this needs to be done by this date to meet launch. And then there was, we hadn't gotten any announcement of multiplayer betas, which since Master Chief Collection, they said every Halo game from this point forward is going to have multiplayer beta, so they don't repeat the mistake of Master Chief Collection.
That's right.
There was no announcement of that. We're coming really close. So hopefully with this delay, maybe we get a multiplayer beta, right? And then there was The Verge did an interview with Phil Spencer I think it was, it was Polygon, did an interview with Phil Spencer, and he said, I'll read it because it's interesting, right?
Sure, go ahead.
He said Spencer said Microsoft and 343 Industries started talking about the decision late last week. So, last week, right? Yeah. Going over certain options like shipping parts of the game separately. Oh. And that was the rumor that came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ultimately, however, Spencer said that it just wasn't the right fit for the Halo game, which I think he's correct. I think, yeah. A delay was the most fitting decision. But I think, I don't know. I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist guy, but I think something else is going on. I think they're probably way behind on development.
Well, you think
if this was even an option because that rumor came out that they were going to ship parts of the game, like they were going to do multiplayer later, right? Was that the plan the whole time? And when that rumor came out, they were kind of like, whoa, people aren't liking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other thing, which again, this doesn't. I was telling Mark this last night. Every mainstay Halo game, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, Reach, 4, and 5, right?
Yeah.
Has been on a 2 to 3 year development cycle, right? Let's say 3 years just to be safe. This one is on its 5th year right now. If we go into 2021, that'll be its 6th year.
However, would you argue this is its most ambitious? I mean,
I'm not saying that more development time is bad or anything like that, but I mean, I saw what 343 did graphically in the 2 years they had with Halo 4, right? When they released Halo 4, and then how they pushed Halo 5 out 3 years after that. I think it was it was about 3 years after that. I wonder what have they been doing this whole time? Not saying that they're not doing anything, or it's just all this stuff adding up. It just makes me wonder what's going on.
Okay,
does that make sense?
I mean, I think that's where everyone's at.
Like why? You're pushing a 6 year development time on a traditionally 3 year.
I think honestly, the most likely thing that happened is someone was trying to push a launch date that just wasn't realistic, and Daddy came in and said, "Kids, let's just."
What's the problem?
Yeah.
Okay, he has the PR side on that side of the room,
and that's Phil Spencer,
and the dev on the other side, and he goes, "Okay, your turn to talk." Well, we want the game to release this year. Okay, devs, it's not ready.
It's not ready.
Okay. Let's just delay it.
Yeah. It feels like that happens. However,
but there's a lot of. I mean, like I said, I dwindle on the development cycle just because, I get that it takes some games take a long time. Like, look at StarCraft 2, wasn't it like 12 years?
12 years.
Yeah, which, by the way, I think like the first 8 years, they weren't really doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
They were golfing.
Yeah, they were just,
it was idea, what is it? Ideation? Whatever.
So anyway, I know they're making a whole new engine. I don't know. It's just I wonder.
It's definitely an ambitious game that you can't mess up. And Phil Spencer probably came in and said, "Guys, we can't mess this up. So if it's not ready, let's push it back."
But my main point though is I feel this is again just my opinion, and it may be the unpopular one. I don't think they just woke up Tuesday or made the decision over the week. I think they knew that they were going to have to delay this for some time now. You know what I mean? Well, I feel like at that level with such a obviously you have schedules and you're organized, I would hope. Yeah. Right. I feel like they knew.
Can I maybe clarify what you're saying?
Yeah.
Or the feeling, your sentiment. It's not that, because I don't think that they knew all along that they need to delay. Clearly, from the interview with Phil Spencer, they were exploring options on how to release the game.
But that's the point. If you're exploring those options,
and then just came to the conclusion, you know what, guys, we're just going to delay it, right? Like that's. Regardless, there's this confusion, there's frustration. I think PR was handled incorrectly.
No, that's what I think. I think someone dropped the ball. But again, like that's going back to Aaron Greenberg's comment. They have weekly check-ins, so you know where you are at in development week to week according to these comments, right? And that's my point. I feel like I think Mark is correct. I think it should have been announced a month or so before. I feel like they would have. I personally feel like they knew at that point that it was when they played the gameplay demo on that Xbox showcase. I feel like they knew that they were.
Well, they should have.
You know what I mean?
Work in progress. And you pointed that out actually at the time.
To be honest with you, the way the world is today, I didn't really have a problem with the graphics. The thing that got me most excited about that gameplay demo is the feel of it. Like it felt like a classic Halo, and that kind of superseded any graphical issues. And I don't think the game looked terrible. I just but I get why isn't ray tracing at launch and all that stuff, right? Which hopefully now it will be now that we're being
especially
delayed,
since that's your main selling feature for the
But yeah, no, where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's move it to spicy. We got a question. We got 2 questions regarding this, so I thought we'd hit these off right off the bat. Ghastly Magician writes in and says, with the delay of Halo Infinite to next year and no console exclusive till 2022, has Xbox set up the Series X for failure? And I think all of our answer would be no there, but I want to adjust that question a little bit and say, do you think they replace spicy? What becomes
Replace
their
me?
No. What becomes?
Wait, what is
Hey,
this
we're
guy?
thinking about replacing you.
What becomes their marquee selling game for the for the X, or do we just, or is it the Game Pass?
No, I mean, with hardware, this is my opinion. Take it as it is. With hardware, you sell hardware.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any game you're going to play is going to play best on this hardware. That's just, if that's the people that are going to buy the Series X are your super fans and your people that care about having the best out there.
Sure.
That's your market. I'm going to get it because I want the best hardware, right? I want to be able to have that kind of power, everything that's possible on that, the teraflops that are possible, the hard drive speeds that are possible, everything about it, I want. So I'm in that market circle.
Sure.
Whereas other people aren't going to be in that market circle, then of course that's not going to be the case. I do agree that games sell consoles, but Microsoft is going they're kind of diversifying their risk by going with Game Pass, where you can get 300, because that's what they're pushing. They're pushing that. They're going to make money off that as well. They're diversifying their risk, not just based on consoles, but across all aspects of PC gaming, for example. You now are going to have a lot of access to PC gaming with your own hardware that you want, which is still a Microsoft product. Windows is a Microsoft product, right? So, which is interesting that they've been competing with themselves for this long
and never realized they could just combine it.
They can just combine it. So I don't think this is that big of a deal. It is in a way. You're definitely going to lose sales, but the Series X is for your hardcore fans and your hardcore hardware people. I mean, if I was a car guy and I was able to, I would have a really fast car, right?
Yeah,
or if I was a tool guy, I would get the Binford 5000. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or this is just one of those cases where they have the best. That's going to be your market. So
I think that's a great point that you make. And to Ghastly Magician's question, so has this set up the Series X for failure? Maybe in a normal console cycle where it's a hard shift to a new console, and you can only play the games on this next console, it would affect it more. But since we're in this new era where everything's backwards compatible, it's the ecosystem that you're selling, it really doesn't have the effect that it otherwise would have.
You have a fallback console as well. You have the smaller version,
the Series S that is rumored to be coming. Yeah,
sure.
And you still do have games like the Medium is coming out, right? Now, when you say console exclusive, technically it's a console exclusive because it's coming out to just the Xbox console and then PC, right? So, I mean, you'll still have games like that, so it's not...
No, good question,
huge...
Ghastly Magician. Thank you very much for writing in. Psychotic also has another one, and Jordan, why don't you answer this one? Psychotic says, what's going on, my dudes? What a week it's been for us Xbox fans. I'll keep this simple. Knowing that Halo Infinite is not coming out till 2021, and I'm not a big racer, should I hop into the Series X when it comes out, or wait? He says, I know that Valhalla is going to be available and Cyberpunk will have its update, but is that enough? Thanks for all you do. What do you think,
It's
Jordan?
kind of the same question, just phrased differently.
Just phrased differently,
No, I think, like Mark said, if you want the best, most powerful console out there, you're going to get it, right? I do think the Xbox Series X, kind of like the Xbox One X, is for your hardcore fans, your what'd you call them, super fans?
Super
fans, right? They want the most powerful console, right? Because and I think you actually just said this, Valhalla and Cyberpunk theoretically will run best on that console because it's the most powerful console, right? It's got
loading screen time alone.
Yeah, So, no, I think if you want it, which I do, I want it regardless of Halo, coming out or not. I like I said, I mean, it sucks that Halo's not coming out, but like we all kind of agreed, whether we agreed they handled it properly or improperly, we agree that it's not bad that they're delaying a game to make sure it's right when it comes out,
Absolutely.
right? So, but for the games that we're getting during that time period. I'm excited to play Cyberpunk. I know we're getting I'm a little disappointed we're getting the patch later. They're doing it like they did with like Witcher and stuff.
Sure.
But I mean, it'll still run good.
Well, loading screen.
Yeah.
Loading screen's the big one.
Same with Valhalla. I might even be able to beat Valhalla if those loading screens are fast enough. You know what I mean? Right before Cyberpunk comes out.
At that point, you're saving time.
Yeah, I think first year of the Series X, loading screens is going to be a bigger deal than graphics. Because it's like going from DSL to fiber, right? It's just going to be this, like we're used to one speed of loading into a game to basically removing that. And then can you imagine jumping back? Let's take Red Dead Redemption. Can you imagine playing Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto and you're in 2 seconds instead of the 5-minute loading screen that currently exists?
You know what's going to be great? Since all these games are kind of cross-platform stuff like a Grand Theft Auto, you're going to have it's basically host advantage type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Will.
I can't wait for the new Battlefield game to come out.
No, you'll just be in there waiting for people.
Here's what happens right now.
Yeah. Do you remember in Battlefield 1 when we got our, Oyen Digital SSDs?
Oh, yeah.
It was so nice to get to the plane first. You know what I mean? It was so nice because it loaded you in quicker, right?
Well, what they added in, I had to sit there and watch everybody load because they wouldn't let me move.
Pop in.
Yeah, they nerf the hard drive speeds. I just sit there. I mean, Jordan just bought an M.2 drive for his PC.
Oh, Jordan!
And basically, he did it for Tarkov because he hated how Tarkov started you off. I could start
late spawns.
I could start. Because I have an SSD,
how much does an M.2 drive run?
Depends on what you get.
Yeah, that's a good answer. If you want a terabyte,
I got I'll admit I kind of got a lower end one because I wanted to see how it was, and I've actually with the lower end one I noticed the difference.
Yeah, what was your price on that? It was a 500 gig, right?
Yeah, 500 gig.
Because I have M.2
I can look it up on
slots.
thing.
I have multiple.
Yeah,
M.2
I showed
slots,
you.
Yeah.
Use them. Use them.
Yeah, use them.
Have one just be just for
games.
Actually, games. You use it for editing too, right?
Yeah.
Have one be for a cache as well. So,
and it just crushes it.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you my setup over there. That'll blow your mind. Yeah, I was gonna.
But how much does that run? $150, $200? Are they expensive?
They're expensive. Yeah, because they're
the new big thing.
Yeah,
I mean compared to what you if you were to buy a 2 terabyte hard drive compared what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they get a little bit pricey. But anyway, yeah, I like mine. I put my operating system on it and Tarkov, and those are the only 2 things on it. And I load in really quick.
Yeah.
That
takes us to the next portion of the show.
Oh, you want a soundbite?
Yeah,
huh?
there we go. This is the segment where we talk about the news tells Jordan what is happening in the world. That is Xbox One this week.
Sorry,
that was kind of a quick shift in topics. I apologize. It's fine. I got distracted by chat.
No, it's good. Yeah. Sometimes while I'm talking, I forget about what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I do that every time we have the show.
No, yeah, that's anyway. So, I mean, obviously, there's the big stuff with Halo and all that. There's actually a lot this week. I mean, Fortnite, I think what is it? Rocket League and Destiny are having events. Fortnite's adding cars. There's a lot of stuff going on this week. But I kind of picked my favorites. The
go
ones
ahead.
that speak to me. You know what I mean?
Give it to me.
One that I think speaks to all of us and gives us little tingles is Season 6 map updates for Apex.
Oh,
so
yes.
It's
Fortnite, or it's Fortified.
Yeah. So
World's
Apex
Edge.
has some Season 6 map updates. They updated they updated a lot of stuff. It's really cool. If you go to their website, it's kind of hard to describe here, but basically they updated the lava field, so there's more, what were they saying? More and improved play on the lava side of the map, which if you look at the differences over on the Apex Legends website, they have little sliders of pictures of the old map and the new map, and you can slide it back and forth to see the difference. You can see that it's more exciting with the new changes they made, especially on that lava side of the map. It's not just flat. There's verticality, there's buildings, there's cover. Basically it's more exciting to fight there, right? You're not just stuck in the open shooting at that guy behind a rock type of thing, right? But a lot of map changes. They added the drill site has been replaced with Countdown.
Yeah.
Countdown is the rocket ship area, which is pretty cool. But I really like their map changes. I like map changes in battle royales because it keeps it fresh.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's fun.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I really like their presentation of map changes on their website.
Oh yeah. So the best, like I said, it's hard to describe. Drill site's no longer a drill site. It's now kind of a rocket launch pad, stuff like that, right? But if you go to their website, Apex, just go to apex.com and you look at their Season 6 map updates. They have a picture of all the changes they've made,
It's
and they have
awesome.
a scroll. It's basically a scroll, and you can scroll left to right to to see the old map and then what they did with the new map changes,
It's
right?
genius.
It's actually really a cool way to do it. It's really easy for people to see, like, oh, that's used to be there and now that's there, right? It's kind of cool. So, but anyway, Apex Season 6 coming out very soon here.
Yeah,
Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, what was it? August 18th, which is Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
I don't know what the date is, but it's Tuesday.
And Flight Simulator's the day right after that.
Yeah, Rampage
Which
is
is
coming.
great.
I really was hoping we'd get a Hyperscape jump into some urban warfare.
Oh,
in
like
Apex,
more,
because they talked about going back to, is it Olympia?
Yeah, that was
Whatever.
the rumor.
And so I was like, oh,
maybe
that would be so cool.
this rocket ship is gonna take us
set up for the
to
next
Olympia
season.
in season 7.
Maybe.
Right? They got to stretch out these seasons, man.
Yeah.
You got to make money.
Too much too soon.
Yeah.
EA changes. EA
jumping with
Access.
EA Access. Basically, it's essentially they're consolidating under one thing. So there's EA Access, Origin Access, all that stuff. All that's which is their subscription service, where if you pay a subscription fee, you get access to their vault, you get discounted on all their games and stuff like that, right? Right now, there's EA Access and Origin Access for PC and console. It's all being replaced under the banner of EA Play.
Boom. There you go.
So it's going to be changed to EA Play, and then there's going to be EA Play Pro, which will give you additional benefits and stuff like that. But basically consolidating. I mean, who wants a billion names when you can just have one?
Amen, brother.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
This is exciting.
Batman. We're getting a new one.
We are going to find out if WB Montreal is making a new Batman game.
Yeah.
And we'll find out next week. Very exciting.
Very exciting.
There's an event on August 22nd.
So this is like a total. They're doing an event. That's how we know they're.
Yeah,
gonna
I don't think it's their event. It sounded like it was a DC fandom event. They're doing their event. It's basically like a 20-minute little thing they're going to have. But WB Montreal is slated as one of the first panels for this event, which I think is the DC fandom event. On August 22nd, it'll take place at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, and it promises a new look. A first look at a new game. With
what was the last Batman? Can we pull up the last Batman trailer actually, or something?
Arkham Knight.
How long ago was that?
4 years ago, maybe.
Wow, so it's been a while since we've gotten a Batman.
Guessing, but it feels like 4 years.
Now,
let's say 3 years.
And don't you think that Batman technology,
the
Batman fighting technology, has been utilized in other games now, right?
Like, yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Because it was the first like high-end beat 'em up, next gen, 3-person kind of, especially that last one. Like just watching highlights of it was really good. So what do you want to see in this next Batman? Like what?
To be honest with you, I don't want to see a Batman.
Oh, really?
I want to see
a Robin.
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
As like
no,
a
I think there's going to be a lot of disagreement with me on this one, but I really want to see a Superman game.
Oh,
I feel
if WB did it the same like as Batman, but with Superman.
Yeah, I mean you can. I mean I just think it'd be a fun. I mean he already flies, so there's your open world, right? I think you can do a similar combat.
There's your Destiny loading screen.
Yeah, there you go. You fly from side to side.
He just floats up there, closing his eyes, listening to the world.
You can get different capes.
I hear everything.
No, I think I was thinking about it. There was a rumor a while ago that maybe there is a Superman. You know, I don't know what it's going to be. We'll find out Tuesday, right? I like the idea of a Superman game because first of all, it's a completely different color palette, art style. You know what I mean? So I think it's just gonna be a good contrast to the old Batman games, right? I think the combat you might have to make a few adjustments because Superman has different powers and stuff, and maybe you can even make it like an origin type story where he's slowly learning his powers, and that can be your upgrade RPG
Smallville?
system.
You want a game about Smallville?
Well, no. I mean, maybe you're the first level of the game is you just starting day one at the newspaper with Lois Lane or something like that. You know what I mean? And then you slowly kind of you're becoming Superman. I don't know.
You're becoming more charismatic.
I mean, I'm not a game developer, right? But that was just my idea.
Upping
of
your
like,
charisma.
Yeah, that was just my idea. Like, after like a couple levels, you level up. You can, you can upgrade to get your laser beams and your frost breath and all that. If you even have that in the game, but I think the combat can be similar because I think that combat really fits with any, type of.
Any game with
right?
superheroes for sure.
Yeah. Really but also what I think you can do is you got the flying around for the open world, which is great. And with Superman, you can introduce different expansions on other worlds type of thing. You know what I mean? You can bring in different galactic beings, right? You can
galactic beings.
Beings, people.
Beings, people.
Oh, beings.
Yeah.
I thought you were like.
beans.
I thought
I
you were
was
like.
what are you talking
I,
about?
I bought this beans from a guy over there that disappeared, but he said these it would grow up to the clouds. Beings, beings.
Humanoids. Galactic humanoids. No, I don't know. That was another idea I had for like DLCs and expansions. We can go back to Krypton. I don't know. See what's out there.
Okay, but we're not. We're going to Batman. So what do you want to see in Batman?
No.
I still want to talk about this.
It's not Batman.
Oh, I thought it was Batman.
We will finally find out if
it's Batman.
Yeah, WB Montreal is making a Batman.
No wonder Mark was looking at me funny when I'm like, let's pull up Batman because it doesn't make sense.
I was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
He's like, no, and you gave me that look like you were pissed at me.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, why not?
No, that's why.
I'll tell you what.
That's
the boob
why
technology there on Catwoman is on point.
Well, that leather.
Well, let me ask you this, Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember a good Superman game. Has there ever been a good Superman game made?
There was a really good Peter Pan game. It's the only flying character game that I think has been good on the OG Nintendo. It was Hook. Fox's
Maybe they
Hook.
take some of those mechanics then. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
Run home, Jack.
there hasn't. I don't think there really had like obviously not
Injustice, but that's not.
Yeah,
that's
but
not really
that's
a
not
game
Superman, right? There hasn't. But if you think about it, there really hasn't been a huge amount of Superman games either, right? There's been some, but
that's what I'm gonna say. Can there be a good game made with his powers?
I think
no, with his powers, I think you could. I think the difficulty comes in how he travels. I think anytime he
flies. I mean, Batman even flew in Arkham.
But how many games
he floated?
He glided.
He floated around.
But how many games is there a character where you have full power of flight? I think that's
the new Avengers game.
Yeah, but that's
Anthem.
linear. But those are linear missions.
Anthem.
But those are linear. I mean, I guess you could do linear missions. I think that's the hard part is when a character has the ability to go wherever he wants to go at the speed of whatever. That's the hard part. How do you implement that in a game successfully? I think you'd have to go linear, like an Avengers.
No. I think you do it the same.
Anthem.
So just imagine Arkham City, I believe, was the second one.
Yeah.
Where he glided, but essentially, he was basically flying. You know what I mean? That glide was pretty forgiving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think you can do it. It's just open world, right? And then Batman's missions were linear when you went into the main missions. It was essentially like a Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean?
But I think doing an open world Superman is hard because Batman with the glide, you still have control of how far he can go as a developer, right? So you're not breaking the world. Superman. So you're not breaking the experience of being in this open world with Batman. Superman with the ability to fly wherever he wants to fly through building, I don't think you can do open world. I think you'd have to stick to strict.
Don't make
linear.
him fly through buildings. Put in a mechanic where maybe he gets to a building and goes, "Whoa, I shouldn't destroy property."
Not according to the movies.
He doesn't. They destroy the whole town.
All New York City.
Maybe that'll be the end boss or something. I don't know. But no, I would like to see a Superman game. I don't think we've ever. You're right. I don't think we've ever gotten a really good one. You know what I mean?
I have theories as to why. It's because he's
too strong
to make an engaging story.
Magic.
Well, you can do what the Avengers are doing here. They're using what's his name, the Brain Dude. The Brain Dude. You know,
Brainiac.
No, Brainiac is
DC
Superman actually, but you can use him. No, but because if you think about it, the Avengers have that similar thing. You got really world-ending power superheroes, so you have to kind of beat them in a different way, right? It's kind of like the Lex Luthor Superman thing, right? Obviously, Lex Luthor can't handle Superman on a physical level. That's why he tries to beat him, intellectually with science and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, you'd have to do it when he was a teenager.
What's that guy's
name? You have to do Smallville.
No, it would be very similar to the Avengers. What's that guy's name? It's the Brain guy.
No, I just think you got to create an equally powerful bad guy.
Yeah, Doomsday. That can be how the game ends. He dies.
Oh, dude, Doomsday would be cool, actually.
That would be cool to see Superman die.
And then you can make a sequel, that would be a good ending. And then you're like, oh. And
Except
then
you can't call it Doomsday because everybody knows what would happen.
I know spoilers, but have it be like the ending of the Jedi game we just had. And just have people just crap their pants and he's dead.
That was a good ending.
Yeah. Because even though that may or may not how that game went down.
No,
I crap my pants at the end because holy
I think the reason it's hard to do a Superman game is because of flight. Name a game that has an open world game that has successfully done flight.
Final Fantasy 15.
You can fly wherever you want.
You can fly in your car.
Fly in your car.
Yeah, the car can fly everywhere.
And it doesn't.
Well, because the game's kind of linear.
They let you have to unlock it like towards the end of the game, but
see, but Superman, that's so inherent to his power. The entire game would have to be linear.
There's the MMO, DC Universe Online. Everybody flies in that.
Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Kakarot. That's right. You can.
Yeah.
You just
Dragon
fly
Ball
anywhere
Kakarot,
in a cloud.
Yeah, but that's not a great game.
It's a good game. It's
Yeah,
not a great game.
I will say there's a lot of repetitiveness.
And
in
my
that
argument here is I don't think you can make a good Superman game.
No, I think you could. But I think, flight is that's the hardest part, I think. I think that's what breaks the world.
Put in a mechanic where you have like a meter.
Just put him in Flight Simulator. You just fly as Superman as a mod.
That would be a great mod.
No, here's what you do. You have here we go. This will fix it. And you guys
we
will
go.
laugh at me, but no, this is serious. You have a dynamic weather system. And since he gets his energy and powers from the sun during overcast days, he can't fly.
But see, no, that's once again you're limiting his power due to the plot. He can just fly really fast and spin that into a tornado.
think
and
of how
let the
that'll-
clouds
Dude,
disappear.
I'll tell you what would be a good game. I'll tell you how you do it. I'll tell you what would be a good game. You do a prequel to Superman, and you do it all on
Smallville?
his home planet. No, all on his home planet, and you're playing his
Like
father.
with the
Wait.
Jor-El.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
I was like, he wasn't conceived yet, but
and you're playing his father up until that
And that's
point.
how
That-
it ends. He's conceived.
yeah, it's like a Far Cry 3 ending.
That would be cool because you could do whatever you want with that story. You could do
Yeah.
whatever you want on that planet. It would be a really cool, interesting way to introduce a Superman. But again, I think it's
No,
flight.
I think it would be harder than I don't know. I mean, developers. I think one thing, and then developers come out with these features, and I go, oh, yeah, it works.
No, yeah, it's just really hard when you can laser your eyes and have somebody blow up.
So if the next game is a
know?
Batman,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't be mad if they took those out. Like, because even if you think of the comic book, sometimes they'll take out Frost Breath
What
in
if
certain
it's
story. You know
what
I
if
mean?
it starts out that he gets somehow stabbed with kryptonite, so he's weaker, and that kryptonite, if it's in his heart,
and he has to get a thing from Tony Stark, even though he's a different, you know,
from
even though
Batman.
yeah, like,
but it's in his heart, and he can't surgically get it removed, so his powers are significantly weaker. But Lois Lane is in trouble.
see, I do think.
See?
I do think.
no. See, the hard part would how would you do detective mode?
I do think Austin Flowers
He
has.
can see through walls.
Not lead walls.
Death Star in chat has it correctly. He says, "What if you make God of War but with Superman, so it's linear, but with fights?" I think that's more the way you've got to do a Superman. I don't
I'll tell
think
you, man,
you could do it the same way
The
you did
first
like
boss
Batman.
fight in God of War
Is an anime fight. It's like
okay, yeah, it's like
when
it's,
when Jordan, I believe it was you, right? When you played it, didn't I hop on just because I
Yeah.
wanted to watch you? I wanted to be on audio while
yeah,
you played
and
it.
I was like, oh my.
Have you played? Have you seen that first fight?
First boss
oh
fight.
my gosh, it's freaking
And you're
awesome! Like it,
What's next?
yeah. When you start a game out with that, it's like holy crap! It's great. It was a great fight.
So it might be a Batman game again. That's been a very successful franchise for them. If it is Batman, Spicy, what do you want them to? What do you want to see them do with Batman? A new Batman game?
Is
there
it going to be
specific
like
story or?
a sequel to the games, or is it going to be like?
Let's say it's standalone.
Okay, so it's a standalone. So they're redoing a story of Batman.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Sorry. Yes. Let's say they're redoing a story of Batman. Would you be opposed to them?
Okay, I know. No,
Batman.
I know what I want. I want I want Batman old
Okay.
and teaching like is that Nightwing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want him teaching a student.
That's cool. That's really cool. And then you get to play between those characters back and forth, maybe.
Yeah.
What about this? Sorry, I don't mean to shift the thing. What if they're doing a Justice League type game?
Okay. Oh, well, then you look like a copycat to Avengers.
You look like a copycat regardless of what you do
Yeah,
anymore in gaming. Everyone's always going to say, "Oh, it's a such and such copycat." Huh?
I mean, that would be cool. That would be cool.
And that would, yeah, I don't know, yeah. It's
Batman Beyond. Yeah, that's
That's cool. Yeah,
It's not
that's
that
cool.
I mean, if it's a Batman game, I'll be fine with it. I just feel like we need to branch out a little bit. You
No,
know what I mean?
I do see. I do understand Spicy's point, though. Batman offers you such rich storytelling opportunity because
he's human. He has limitations.
he's human and it's dark and gritty, and you can go any direction. You can have a redemption story. You can have he goes even darker, right? You can do whatever you want.
You know what game would be great? Spawn.
Ooh,
That would be talk about demons and darkness and chains, and it's right up your alley, David.
there.
Well, Batman did get pretty dark in Arkham Knight. I mean, they said he wasn't killing people, but there's no way.
When those
Like-
rubber bullets were killing them out of the the
what he
Batmobile was
did-
shooting rubber bullets.
They
but
said
they
it.
were like blowing up
They
walls.
tried to tell us he wasn't killing people, but
Well, no.
that's not right.
There was one part because they added like environmental stuff. So one time I took this guy's face and I shoved it into like what's the highest breaker box you could ever think of?
I don't
like
know, 100,000
yeah,
watts.
like not just like your the 110,
like at a power complex.
And he slammed his face in it and held it there for like 5 seconds, and you're like, that guy's not alive. That guy's not knocked out. It's just he like did some stuff in number 3. Like they're not alive. It was pretty dark.
See, chat saying if they could just do Superman right, how hard is it? It's hard because he's so strong. Like a good story needs limitations.
No, but here's the thing: the Superman comics are good stories. Like they do a good job of giving those limitations. The way that you do it is you just create bad guys that counter his powers.
Well, and that's my point with them making this new Avengers game. There are some Avengers that are essentially planet killer type heroes, right? They're very strong. But I mean, that's when I think the argument is, can they make a open world Superman game as opposed to a linear Superman?
I think
game,
that's
right?
the difficult part. I don't think you could do open world. I really don't. Not correctly, because the flight thing. If you do a Superman game, I'd like to see him go back in time, and just because I want to fly around the world and make it spin backwards.
I mean, Lex Luthor is good nowadays because he has technology. Imagine if he didn't have technology.
Yeah, back in the 80s.
What's he gonna do? Like hit him with a bat with nails in it? Like I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I'm just. I mean, what other DC heroes would you guys want to see? Obviously, it's WB. They have the DC. I think most of the DC library, right?
Honestly, I kind of like Wonder Woman. I think
Wonder Woman would
be a cool one.
Speaking of Flight Simulator, her plane's invisible.
Oh, there you go.
Would you run into the same issues with Wonder Woman though? Because she's pretty.
Well, yeah, she's basically Superman.
Yeah,
but she's hot.
But
an origin story with her would be very interesting.
Yeah. Well, because that's
she's hot, or
I believe God of War is the origin story of her because she was created by the gods.
Yeah, you could. It would be so cool. That would be a good one.
Chat's talking about Teen Titans.
Teen Titans. That's
Titans
true.
game.
That would be hilarious. That's a little bit different of a feel. I feel like South Park Stick of Truth is the direction we go with Teen Titans. You know?
Yeah, we can do that.
Anyways, regardless, we're going to find out.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Could we do a game with the Flash?
Yeah, the Flash would be cool. Again,
I feel like that would be difficult.
I think Flash, you've got to go linear because of those powers.
No, he can just get from point A to point B really fast. Like if it's open world, I need to get over there.
Yeah, but imagine
like hitting nitro
how
on
would
your
they
car.
how would they do it like from your gameplay perspective? Because if you're going so fast, like you just run into buildings,
Yeah,
you'd have to slow it down. I don't know.
Slow it down.
I don't know. But anyway, we'll find out. Whatever it is, I mean, being realistic, it's probably going to be another Batman game, but we'll see. I don't know. Or it could be like, I mean, just because it's WB doesn't mean it's going to be a superhero. It could be maybe Mad Max 2 or something like that. Who knows? Anyway,
Hyperscape.
Well, actually, it is at DC, so it is a superhero game. Never mind. I'm sorry.
No, it's
at the DC convention. Never mind. It's going to be something. Anyway,
let's move over to Hyperscape.
Yep, Hyperscape.
Can we throw that up as well?
Sure.
Yeah, Hyperscape came out this week on the console. It's been out for probably about a month or so-ish on the PC. It came out this week on the console. It is free to play. It's the same setup as like an Apex or a Fortnite, free to play. You can buy the Battle Pass. Season 1 started this week for console. I like this game. Me and Mark got to play a little bit last night. I've been playing this game on the PC for the past month, not like religiously, once or twice a week for fun. I like their setup. I like all the mechanics, the setups. I like how they do their abilities. I like how they do their upgrades on their weapons. I think it's simplistic, but also rewards you, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I did, and I was telling Mark this last night too, because you were having a similar issue. It did take me about a week to dial in the controls for the controller.
Yeah, I think with that said, I think this game was made for PC and is being ported in a way to consoles, which obviously it is, but you can tell at this point.
Because of the controls?
And they'll get better. They're going to update it. They're going to do that. But right now, I feel like this game plays best on the PC.
Okay.
Like it feels made for a mouse and keyboard a lot more than the joysticks. And the joysticks feel, I mean, even how you start off with its sensitivity.
Well, it starts out really high. That's why I said it took me a week to dial it in.
And it's not just high; it's high in vertical. It's high in vertical way more than horizontal, which makes me feel that whoever did that has never played with a controller.
Right, like they're
That's
used to a mouse.
Yeah, they require different speeds. Just be you have to play it to understand. But that said, I feel like it's going to be updated and stuff like that. But right now, it feels like rough for a controller. If it feels smooth, but not compared to other games.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
I get what you're saying. Before I have a question for you, Spicy, because Jordan has had the opportunity to play this on the PC, but Spicy hasn't. But before we get to that, Toxic Buttwind just dropped a super chat. Thank you very much, Toxic Buttwind. He said, just wanted to say hi, and you guys are awesome. Toxic Buttwind, you are awesome, my friend. Thank you very much. That is awesome. Holy crap is what Chad is saying right now. Amen to that, Toxic Buttwind. So Jordan hasn't had a chance to play on PC. He thinks it's like top 3 Battle Royale up there. We talked about this before. Spicy, is it the same for you? Where does this game, Hyperscape, land in the Battle Royale landscape for you?
I got to play it a lot more. I got to dial in the settings. I got to understand the weapons. Why I don't think it's probably not top 3 for me, and that's because I don't like the weapons as much as other games.
Okay.
There are probably 2 weapons that I enjoy out of the, what is there, like 12?
There's not like a lot. I would say 12 is a safe number.
Yeah.
10 to anywhere between 10 and 15.
I've tried them all in the
ton.
training zone, and I don't like any of them. The time to kill is pretty high as well, and it's very mobile. So you need, as long as you keep moving, you have a good chance. But it doesn't feel right for a controller for me at this point. So I'm still dialing it in. Granted, I don't have a lot of time playing on a console with this game. I'm gonna get it for the PC as well because I want to feel the
It's
difference.
free, so you can download. Yeah, you can download it.
But right now, I would say Fortnite, Apex, and Warzone is the top 3. I don't think this hits that yet on console.
Sure.
Anyway, so.
Do you think there's potential there? What you
Definitely potential.
You would change the weapons?
I would. Yes.
Now you like, so what I see when I see this game is it's very fast and it looks fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And that's the best part about it is the movement and the mobility feels good.
It feels a lot like Quake and Unreal Tournament type movements.
Okay.
The gun control, I have a little bit of beef with it because I feel like the bloom on some of these guns is ridiculous for the time to kill and the mobility generated for a controller. With a mouse, it changes things because the precision with a mouse is way easier to control. I feel it's way easier to deal with bloom with a mouse as well. And you can track a lot easier. So that's one of the reasons I feel just like the core gameplay is built for a PC. Just because the tracking and everything is.
Well, see, I don't think it's the bloom because I don't think there's very minimal bloom from what I can tell. I think it's just the
spread.
But
the spread,
your movement of your joysticks is what's throwing it everywhere, right? I think you just got to dial in those settings.
The dead zones and stuff like that. Is that what you're saying, or on the
It's just
on the
too
joystick?
sensitive.
Well, no, I don't think it's the bloom because if you're looking at this video when they're shooting, like the bloom, like when you talk
okay,
bloom,
it's not bloom. I'm talking about like recoil.
Oh, okay. Sorry, okay.
So
yeah.
that's not. So yeah, bloom and recoil.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. No, I heard you.
The
saying.
recoil
That makes more sense.
The recoil combined with the joystick and the mobility that is available in this game is extremely difficult to control.
Okay, yeah. That's sorry. When you said bloom, I was like,
Yeah, sorry.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
It's hard to shoot and track an object with how fast they can move.
Now,
with
if they can dial this in, particularly on console, just that part. Let's say they fix the controls, or for console, like to where you like them, Spicy, and the gunplay. Does that change where this game is for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm watching we have it up on screen here for everybody listening, and I'm watching the movement. This destroys Apex, and Apex is by far one of the best.
I wouldn't say
games.
it destroys it.
Well, like just this, like for instance, he's getting shot in the air, and he's able to jump back and like double jump, recover onto a track that's in the sky and over to another roof. It just looks so fast.
It's very smooth.
You can combine that like movement.
Like
moves.
for example, the transition between jumping and sliding, like you can jump slide incredibly quickly and incredibly efficiently
It's like
very
they
quickly. You know,
it's
what I mean?
like they added a
very-
cheat code to Apex's slide.
Okay.
Like you can do it pretty much whenever you want.
And then what are both of your thoughts on the when you die, you now become a recon guy, basically, for your team? Do
I
you
think
like
that's
it?
I think that's fine. Any way a game can get people that have died back into the game and have them not be just sitting around doing nothing is a great mechanic.
Yeah. And it can turn the tide, right?
It can
Like,
turn
it
the tide,
be
yeah.
fun,
So
you know,
so they
cat and
can
mouse stuff.
they can do a couple things when you're dead. So let's say you're in a squad and you get killed, but you have other teammates up. You can run around and ping the enemies to tell people where they are because you're like a ghost. Or you can go out and get a body of someone else that's dead, and they can go as long as you are there and your teammate that's alive is there. You can be resurrected and start playing again too. So it adds. I think that's a great mechanic.
Yeah,
to the
Jordan.
game.
Jordan, final thoughts on this game for you. Who should play this game? Who would you recommend it to?
If you like Quake,
Yeah.
it's definitely up that. No, I mean, it's hard to tell. But I like so for my it's in my rotation of battle royales, which right now is Apex, Warzone, and Hyperscape. Right. I don't know if it's free to play, so if you can at least give it a try and see what you want. But I mean, if you like, I guess Apex is the most you can compare it to because it's just the movement. So if you like Apex, you may or may not like this. Right. Just depends. But,
It's Apex with a lot of verticality, and faster. It's faster than Apex as far as
it's
movement.
really fast. But I don't know. I'm enjoying it so far. It's in my rotation of battle royales.
There you go.
Season 1 is out now. Oh, well, the other nice thing about it is it's only like 8 gigs.
There you go.
So it'll
yeah.
fit on your.
It's not big at all.
Yeah,
it's not a Warzone
It'll
game.
fit right next to your Warzone game.
They
if you got,
did that.
at least 10 gigs.
They did that on purpose too. They said, guys, Warzone's trying to take over consoles. Let's
how do we
make
get
it
in there?
as small as possible so we can
That way
squeeze
we
in.
can still be in the same on the same console. as
So,
those.
but no, it's free to play. If you want, you can buy the battle passes. They have your typical. I think it's a $10 battle pass, $25 for the first 25 level type thing. You know, just like everyone does, right? They do have a lot of cool skins and stuff like that, which is where these games thrive on their battle passes. Passi. But anyway, yeah, Hyperscape available now on the console and PC. Oh, important thing to note. I did check. It was saving my progression back and forth, which is great. That's what I
nice.
love.
Yeah.
The developers did say that there will be cross-play, but there's no cross-play right now. I think one reason is they're testing the servers, right? But I think another big reason is PC's had this game for a month now, so throwing in console players who are still learning the game would probably frustrate people. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're going to do it like Call of Duty where you can choose, I only want to play with controllers versus keyboard and mouse and stuff like that. I would assume they do it. I think Call of Duty is kind of the standard for cross-play games right now. But yeah, it is coming, just not right now.
There you go. Doom Eternal had a new trailer this
Yes,
week.
Doom Eternal. They had a trailer for their trailer.
Which
I didn't know that this was a thing now.
It's Inception.
So, yeah. Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 1 is a teaser trailer for the official trailer that's coming out next week.
It's a trailer. It's an announcement trailer of the trailer.
Yeah, no, it really is. It made me laugh because the teaser looks good, and you're like, oh, wow, they're coming out with some story DLC. So it is a story expansion.
Okay.
Which is really good. But this teaser is a 30-second teaser, and at the end it says full trailer reveal at opening night live, which is the venue they're going to do it at. It's August 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
How good
is
But
I'll tell you, Doom Eternal is a good game, and I'm glad they're coming out with some story DLC, and Doom Eternal is good. If you're watching live, we have the trailer up now, but it looks good. Yeah, the trailer for the trailer.
The trailer for the trailer,
Yeah, which I thought was really funny. But anyway, Doom Eternal, August 27th, we will get the full reveal at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, very
The Ancient
exciting.
Gods.
The Ancient Gods Part 1, which makes me think there's going to be a cliffhanger.
Oh, yes, there is.
Because, what if they just named it Part 1 and
that's it?
did
They just
nothing
left
else?
it there?
I like it.
That would be cool. We should do that.
Why not?
Let's
You know?
rebrand our podcast, XoneBros Part 1.
Other trailers, we have Elder Scrolls Stone, I don't even know.
Stonethorn.
Stonethorn, which continues the story of the Dark Heart of Skyrim for this year.
Dude, they're just crushing it.
They do a good job.
They just-
It's coming September 1st. This is a DLC pack, so they're just following that same thing they do where they do the DLC packs, or they did the dungeon at the beginning of the year. They did the big chapter expansion. Now they're doing the DLC pack, right? To continue the story throughout the year, which I really like their setup for how they're doing it. But September 1st, available for ESO Plus members, or you can buy it standalone if you wish to do that.
Did
as
you
well.
jump into the latest expansion?
Yeah, it's really fun. I haven't beat it or maxed it out yet because there's a lot of games coming out.
Dude, ESO. I think they're the best console MMO. I think they're in second place
for MMOs.
for MMOs.
Who's the first MMO?
I think World of Warcraft. I mean, it's still king,
yeah.
king of. The
I definitely
block.
think there's a
King of the hill.
the big three.
Who did you put in there? Who did you put in the third one? Final Fantasy.
Yeah, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, and ESO.
Yeah, ESO has done just a great job of continual support, and
I'm still waiting for
such a
that.
cool world.
I'm hoping we get Final Fantasy 14 on the Xbox. Still
There you
waiting
go.
for it. Still hoping for it. No.
Yep.
Oh, what's next?
Last is Spotlight Gold deals with gold.
Oh yeah, the
Was there no updates?
no,
on that?
there was. They're doing the Ultimate Game Sale, August 14th, starting today.
Oh, that's
through the
exciting.
24th.
First
24th.
Through the 21st.
For the fourth, yeah. Anyway, you got games, Modern Warfare, Red Dead Redemption on there. You got a lot of games. The Ultimate Game Sale. So I just wanted to put that in there just so people are aware. And
Yeah,
know.
go grab it. Go
And
grab some games.
This last story I think is pretty cool.
What is this?
So it talks about the Xbox Series X
Okay.
launch date.
Sure.
So
Oh yeah, November 6th.
you just ruined the whole thing, man.
Oh,
We're
sorry,
gonna
you
build
were,
up to it.
You're gonna build up.
Yeah,
oh, my
yeah.
bad. I just
This
it's
was
like
this was his climax
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
He wanted all the other stories led to this
I
moment.
believe November 6th is a Friday, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah, isn't
we'll
that
have
awesome?
to cancel the podcast. Just
Yeah,
go play our
that's-
DX.
Dude, we could unveil it on the
we
podcast.
could. That would be fun. Yeah. No, what's so
a good idea.
Microsoft? Well, November 6th is the rumor right now, right? Microsoft revealed the month of launch.
Yeah, November.
which
Okay.
is November, right?
Yeah.
And then we did have a leak of the new Series X controllers at a retail at retailers, and according to The Verge, the Series X controller tells retailers not to sell or display the device until November 6th. Right?
Ooh.
So rumor is November 6th. Now here's my
When does the pre-order go up? That's
when
got to
they
be
announce-
soon,
You
right?
can probably pre-order.
Oh, it'll
right
be
now.
it'll be after this conference.
Now
this month,
Microsoft did talk. They did say they are going to talk about the Series X more this month in August. So we'll see. Now here's my question to you guys, and I was kind
Go for
of
it.
telling this before. This is like my own personal question. I didn't submit. Sorry, so I'm cutting in line.
good.
Even Mark submitted last week.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
He went through proper channels.
he did.
I did. I wrote it on his piece of paper. So he saw he had to see it.
I was listening to some guys that they brought up good points. I trust these guys.
Okay.
But anyway, this is all just opinion based, right? This is not fact. Right? This
Strictly
is just
opinion.
opinion, people talking. But they brought up some good points. So we talked about this a while ago. Now we have more information, so maybe our minds have changed. And I specifically said I think if Microsoft goes above $500, that hurts them, right? For price point of this console.
Sure.
Now, if you think about what's in this console, just with ray tracing alone, that type of hardware is expensive stuff.
Yeah.
So what these people were talking about is, do you think the reason they have two boxes?
And to be clear, this was Digital Foundry, correct?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I just want to validate their
No,
opinion,
yeah,
right? Like,
I really enjoy that. I think
So
they're I think
Digital
they're- yeah, I
Foundry,
think
for
they-
those of you who have never been over there, they're like hardware experts.
Yeah,
So
they're
this is
really
what they were
good,
saying.
and I feel like they like games. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I trust their opinions. Again, these are just opinions, but they were talking about it, and it made me think. Do you think that basically they're talking about? Do you think the reasoning they haven't, both them and PlayStation, so PlayStation's in the same boat too. The reason they haven't announced their prices yet is because it's going to be north of the 500 mark. And they also bring up the point: do you think Microsoft has the lower console because the Series X is going to be north of the 500 mark, and that lower console will be, for your average user? And then Mark did make the point at the beginning: your hardcore super fans want this because they want the most powerful box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just made me think: is this going to be the first time?
So far, every time console has released at that $500 mark, it has lost. So
but they have two this time around.
True, but the PlayStation 3 got crushed,
Mm-hmm.
and it had that issue. And then Xbox comes back the next generation and does the same thing with the Xbox One, and it lost
Mm-hmm.
this generation. I think that price point on release is more. We talked about Halo. Does this affect? I think that price point affects it even more.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. I think they're not. They're willing to take a loss, particularly Microsoft. And I think the reason that we maybe haven't seen, and this is pure speculation, and I know nothing about hardware. I'm all into PR. I think The reason is it's a game of chicken. They don't want to be undercut by PlayStation, and that has more to do with it. And I think they're both waiting as long as they can before they reveal the price, because one of them wants to be cheaper. I think we're going to see a console price war.
Yeah, well, because Digital Foundry in the video, they also talked about PlayStation. Same reason, like they're obviously they have ray tracing, they have this higher end.
I do think
technology stuff. Are they? Is that the reason they're holding back?
I think Xbox has an advantage in the respect that they're willing to take a hit. They're already doing it with Game Pass. Mm-hmm. I mean, how much has that cost them just to get it started? They want people in this new ecosystem genre. So I think they're more willing to take a hit, I would say, probably than Sony.
Yeah. No,
I do think they'll have the cheaper price. I really do.
But will that price be above 500?
I think both will be under 500.
I think both will be under 500?
I think when you look at history, if you're an executive and you're like, every time a console has launched for 500, this has been their result. I think that is the price of doom, and you avoid that at every, even if it's going $449, right? Like that, you do it at every price.
And again, and this is where they kind of, I mean, I don't know what it's going to be, but was their compelling argument to me. When you know what's in that box with your hard drives, the capability of ray tracing and stuff like that, you as that gamer know how much that costs, like what that kind of experience costs, right? So you're already expecting.
But we saw that with the Scorpio. The Scorpio was a similar situation in that it was a return to the console is a better deal for what you're getting compared to a PC. We hadn't had that in a while. I think we're seeing the same thing.
No, that's always been the case. When the 360 came out, people would buy that and then wipe the hard drives and turn it into
there you go, yeah.
Turn it into a PC because you're getting a PC for half the price.
But again,
no,
I know I keep saying ray tracing, but ray tracing, if you look at what to get ray tracing on your computer, it's a very expensive endeavor.
Yeah, and I understand what they're saying, and then maybe they're right. But I just think from a selling PR perspective, I think they're going to avoid that $500 price point at all costs, even if it means eating the cost for a couple of years to get people in their system.
And they've always done that.
Yeah,
but it depends. It also depends on how big that cost is for them, right? I mean, at a certain point, they got to look, and that's why when the two consoles,
when you have god tier money, though,
well, you don't want to lose money at the same time, but
that's what makes me think with the two consoles, right? Like,
but
is the Series X going to be your super fan console for the hardcore gamer that wants ray tracing, 4K, all that stuff, and then the lower console, let's just say they take out ray tracing or I don't know what I mean, you know what I mean? But like, it's just your budget one, I guess.
So the difference between this time and let's say the Xbox 360 days, okay, the hardware was more expensive for Microsoft. I think it took like 3 or 4 years of selling the Xbox 360 before selling the hardware became profitable. The difference between now and then is they can subsidize their losses with subscriptions now. So I think that they will still aim for under a $500 mark simply because they have different avenues of gaining income through games versus just one console.
You've also got to think for every Xbox that's not sold or every Xbox that's sold, you've got a couple PCs that are sold with the opportunity of them making money off of Game Pass there too. So it's there's the X factor that this is just a model that we've not seen in the console space before.
Yeah, they've diversified their risks. It's actually a really smart way to. They have subscriptions, they have hardware, they have everything that they have.
Cloud,
yeah. It's now not just about the console. They're making money.
It is an interesting theory that the S is there because the X is going to be that expensive, and same with PlayStation. But I think both companies avoid that price point at all costs.
I see what you did there.
No, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, well, it's kind of funny, like we talked about with $60 to $70. I mean, $499 is still expensive, but you just up it.
There's a
$590. Yeah, I know.
There's a psychological thing there, right?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Look at the pushback we just did with a $70 price tag with 2K when they announced that.
No, I thought it was a really. I saw it last night because I was just going through and I watched that. They're very good, right? And they don't know, right? They're just speculating like, hey, is this one reason or is this another reason? They made valid points though, I thought, and again.
Well, what's interesting? Did they not talk about like every other console that's ever been made? How they do it at a loss and make money on.
Well,
the games?
but the impression that I got, and I'll show you. You can watch the video. It's only like a 20-minute video. The impression I got is these consoles are way more expensive to make than previous consoles because of features that are in them, i.e. ray tracing.
Well, here's the thing:
the hard drives. And
if you
stuff
guys have, if for those of you listening, if you haven't ever been over to Digital Foundry's channel, I'd go check it out.
Oh, they're really good. They're really good. And I think it's just the weird.
They make you feel dumb. They're so good.
Yeah, and I think it's just the weirdness of why don't we have the price yet? You know what I mean?
I think it's
just, Footloose. It's Footloose on the tractors. Sony's over here, and then Kevin Bacon's over here with Microsoft, and one of them is going to get their laces stuck in the gears.
No, but it's
and then they'll finally accidentally release the price.
And they did talk about Game Pass subscriptions and stuff like that. Again, they're floating out ideas and stuff like that. But I like them because, like I said, I feel like they like technology and they like games, and they're good. They're really good, right?
Yeah,
so, but anyway,
really
it was just
good.
an interesting thought. So
that brings us to the next segment of our show. This is the portion of our show where we take your questions. You can leave a question each and every single week over at patreon.com/positive gaming or youtube.com/XoneBros. If you are a member, you can also submit to the mail sack. The mail sack has expanded. The mail sack has dropped.
Mail sack.
On YouTube.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
First question comes from Matt Balsey. He writes in and says, with Fable finally announced, I wanted to go back and play Fable 1 through 3. But as I started Fable Anniversary, I realized how awful the combat system is. With that in mind, what is your favorite combat system? And do you hope Fable makes a similar one to your favorite or keep what they have? He said, my favorite is Dark Souls. Dodging and blocking and parrying is so rewarding if you can get the knack for it. And I hope Fable does something similar to this rather than a hack and slash like the other games. Let's start with Jordan because Jordan is a Fable phenom.
Yeah.
Do you like the old? Do you agree with that?
Well, I mean, it's same like when you go back and play, even when you play like Halo 1, right? Like it's definitely a product of its time, right?
Sure.
And they're limited by what they had at that time. I haven't played Halo Anniversary in a while, so I couldn't tell you compared to the other ones. Well, and then it's also hard coming from right now where things are a lot smoother.
Oh yeah.
And refined, going back to a game that wasn't, right? Because at that time it was probably smooth and refined. You know what I mean? But then of course, Anyway, so I couldn't. I mean, I don't remember it like feeling terrible. It's probably not as good as like 2 or 3.
Sure.
Because obviously they're newer and better, right?
So
except 3.
So what is your favorite combat system in a game? Do you think?
I would have to say it's probably, and I think it stems from the Batman combat system, but that system of block, I like what he said, like Dark Souls, that system of blocking, parrying, and stuff like that. Now, it doesn't have to be hard. If you take a game not on Xbox, but like Sekiro,
sure,
or not Sekiro, sorry. What's the other?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Thank you. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. It's a similar combat style to like Dark Souls, but it's nowhere near as difficult. But it has that dodging, parrying. So you know what I mean?
Action based.
And I think you can do that with most combat styles, other than like first-person shooters, because Batman does the same thing. Blocking, parrying, counter-attacking, stuff like that, right? I just think it's a good third-person combat style.
Would you like to see that in Fable then?
Yeah, I would. I like being rewarded for parrying attacks.
Very cool. Spicy, how about yourself? What is your favorite combat system?
Mario 1, just jump on the guy. And then they upgraded it with Donkey Kong Country where you can roll through him too.
And throw barrels.
And throw barrels. I mean, it's just a simple way
It's a
to do
win-win.
it. I actually really like that way.
Would Dark
No,
Souls
he's serious.
Would Dark Souls be up there
joking.
with your favorite though for like 3D open world type of games or Assassin's Creed? I'm surprised.
I do like that, and I think Jordan has a valid point. I think that's a really good way to do it. I like a Mass Effect style, like Mass Effect 2, 3, where you can use abilities to get people from beyond cover. And shoot
cool.
it. So I know that Jordan's talking like his style and the Dark Souls style, the Sekiro style, the Ghost of Tsushima is melee range combat. So I'll take as far as the range combat, guns and stuff. Mass Effect was a really unique way to use like that zero power, and you can change just the range of the abilities to change stuff like that. I really liked the zero gravity like abilities and stuff like that to get people from beyond cover. So I like Mass Effect. I really liked how they implemented that. So
I'm just gonna say one segment of a fighting system that I really enjoy, especially after playing Rise again last month, is the quick time events within. You can implement this within a parrying system. You hit X now and it does this like crazy cool execution, but it never felt quick timey. Like it's a quick time event essentially, but it's not a quick time event in feeling.
And what game you're talking about?
Rise, Son of Rome. So you're fighting, you're parrying, you're blocking.
I actually don't like quick time events, but I get what you're saying. The quick time events, like in Batman and in those style games, actually add to the gameplay.
Yeah.
Whereas quick time events, when it's a cutscene and you have to press A or X or tap it,
Exactly.
I hate those.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's like a quick time event without being a quick time event, right?
Sure.
Like I just like adding that into a system for crazy awesome abilities that just
What I think
work
you
in
like
a
their
game.
presentation.
Their
of it.
presentation. Maybe that's what it is.
Chopping their heads off.
Chat's
so good.
talking about a Witcher 3. That is an excellent one, and I think that's the kind of just that
No, and that's
adventure
actually-
style.
Yeah, that was really well because again, I think that Witcher 3 factors in blocking and parrying, but then also adds magic and stuff to it. The Witcher 3, the greatest game ever made, in my opinion. By the way, anyway,
I agree.
The Witcher 3 has a really good combat system. I will admit, though, if they could smooth it out just a little bit, like let's say potentially we have a Witcher 4.
Like they do it, maybe they do it in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Well, Cyberpunk's first person, right? But Witcher 3, the only thing that kind of held me back from the Witcher 3's combat system is it felt a little, what's the word for it? It wasn't bad. I liked the style. It's just, I think it was more like the camera work and stuff, but it felt almost, would blocky be a good word? Like it felt, I don't want to use the word janky because I feel like that has a bad. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
it wasn't 100% smooth. It was like 90% smooth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well,
Are you talking about like that moving the camera around, or what are you talking about?
Well, sometimes, for instance,
That's why I think it might be the camera. Right?
Yeah.
Like it might have been the camera because I don't know. Witcher 3 had a really good combat system, and it's my favorite game of all time. But when I go back and play it, especially after playing newer games again, right? It did have a little.
Well, do you think it's the animations? Because I know I've restarted this game a million times, and every time I restart it, what really stands out to me is when I'm dodging in the middle of a fight or something, I'm locked into that animation in a roll, and that takes away. That's a little bit. It makes it feel a little janky, but it's not.
That it's just it has this feel to it that just it takes you a minute to get used to the movement of your character Geralt and the camera and everything. It had a feel to it.
Was it the field of view was too wide or something?
No.
like
It wasn't
that?
anything to do with field of view. It was I think a combination of the camera and just like I don't know. It's the movement of the character. Maybe
It was
I don't know.
It was the hair technology.
Yeah, it distracted me. That's what
it
it did.
was.
No, it's just
Thing of
like for
beauty.
example, I challenge for this week. I want you guys to pull up that game, and I want you just to run around and do the controls. Like there's this. It's not like 100% smooth. You know what I mean? There's there's this thing, and I can't. It's hard to describe, but it just janky would probably be the correct word for it, but I don't want to say that because I feel like that comes with a bad stigma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it had parts where if the controls were a little bit tighter, you would have gotten through that.
Well, I
fight,
know, like
you
on the
what I mean?
horse. On the horse, you can't turn smooth like you turn in like a Red Dead, right? Like
Well,
it's
I
more
think that
blocky.
happens with the character of Geralt too. When you turn him, it kind of like blocky. Yeah, it's just it. Like I said, it's a 90% smooth combat.
I just played Gwent in that game. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. See that is like no, but Witcher was a good game, and I do again. Witcher's combat style is a similar type of combat style where blocking and parrying is key, because then you can get those counterattacks in. But what Witcher does is they add the magic to that as well, which I guess would add a bit of range depending on what you did. They added the crossbow, but let's be honest. Crossbow kind of sucked.
It really did.
Yeah,
I upgraded that like crazy, and it still
like,
sucked.
yeah, it's just. I think it's just there. Like it's just like, all right, you're standing over there, pop. All right, now come at me. Just a little like aggro tool.
Great question. Thank you very much, Matt Ballsy, for writing in. Mr. AOG Wardog writes in.
Oh,
He says, if they released a new Fallout this generation, what would you guys like to see in the next installment? What could they fix or change? Would multiplayer be valuable, or should they go back to sticking with single player? Would we even want to see a Fallout this next generation? Again, as always, guys, I love what you do. Stay safe and keep doing what you love. Let's start with Mr. McSpicy. Fallout. Let's start with the multiplayer question. Should the next iteration, the next generation of Fallout, have multiplayer? Should they go back to their bread and butter? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Fallout to me is a single player game. So I don't know. I never really. I don't think I ever played Fallout 76. You did, so that would be.
Yeah.
I think you could do a better job at answering that question. My answer to the what they should fix leave me alone, Minuteman.
Yeah,
Just
it's
like,
oh
seriously.
my gosh, and fight for yourself every once in a while.
That's the problem with these games is people just don't.
They don't fight for themselves.
They don't have ambition.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, the world sucks. I'm done. Unless you go get that for me across the street.
And then I still won't do anything for you.
And then we'll decide whether I like you or not. So that Minuteman guy would never leave me alone.
No, I think
I even made the base self-sufficient.
and he still bothered you.
I spent hours on that base, and he still didn't leave me alone.
It's like when you give a dog a hot dog, it just keeps coming back. You know what I mean? You got to cut him off.
you gotta just.
You got to cut
I
him
don't
off.
care about you anymore. Seriously, I have other fish to fry. But yeah,
I think. Oh, sorry. Were you?
no, I was just gonna say, like RPGs. Those people are the most lazy. The NPCs that you have to help, they are the most lazy people. Unless, of course, it's like done right, like Witcher 3. I actually want to help these people.
At least when I destroyed a monster in The Witcher 3, greatest game ever made, they came back and started a town. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, at least, I mean, maybe that town sucked and I couldn't buy anything there, but at least they were trying. Like, hey, I cleared out this land for you, and you're trying to make a better life for yourself.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
just think NPCs are lazy in MMOs or in RPGs. They're just lazy.
No,
David.
I think if you do, I think the mainstay Fallout, you keep Fallout, because that it just has that. Fallout is a single player game. If you want to keep multiplayer, I think you keep them separate, right? You keep Fallout 76, and I don't know, maybe come out with Fallout 77 later. I think you keep them separate. I do think Fallout 76 is doing a really good job with their more recent updates, and it is a lot of fun, especially post. What was that?
patch.
That
Post patch. The
post patch.
that added NPCs.
pack.
Yeah, the added NPCs. I forget what it was called. Wastelanders. There we go.
you go.
Wastelanders. Post Wastelanders patch. I think the game is really solid. It's really fun to play with your friends. I've actually been playing it with my brother-in-law once or twice a week, and it feels like Fallout, and it feels like Fallout with your friend.
Yeah.
And that's what's really fun. I think you keep them separate, though. I think you keep Fallout 76 and that series by itself, doing its own thing. Whether you want to come out with sequels to that, you can or cannot. That's completely up to them. But the next Fallout 5, which, by the way, I think is way off in the distance.
You got to think Sky or the next.
Well, because you
Elder
have
Scrolls.
Starfield coming out, and then you have Elder Scrolls coming out after that. So I think Fallout 5 is way off in the distance. But I think when it does come out, it'll probably be a Fallout 4 style, a single player experience.
I think what they should add to this game is, you know how it gives you options to reply to people? I think they should add a go screw yourself option. Because sometimes I just don't care for you. And why am I having to go get that for you?
Or
Yeah.
you know what you could do with Fallout 4 or Fallout 5? You can add Albion orbs.
Have little
Don't
blue
let
balls
people
running
join.
around?
Don't let people
Just
join.
let them
Just add the
explore.
orbs. Because sometimes I'd be walking around and be like, hey,
No.
why is there like 8 orbs over there? And you run over there and you're like, oh, well, there's stuff over
Have
here.
it be the patriotic robot that goes around. Just have it be that guy.
yeah.
Oh man, yeah. That would
Albion
be-
orbs.
Yeah.
I think Albion orbs was a fantastic feature. It was cool to walk around your single player game. I mean, there was co-op in
And
that
I
game,
see
but
Jordan's ball
yeah, you're
floating
like,
around.
"Hey!" And it had your gamer pick in it, and it float around, and you're like, oh, where's this guy
Where's
going?
Jordan?
But no, one time there was like 8 orbs next to each other, and I was like, what's going on? I ran over there, there's a treasure chest or something.
That is
Yeah,
funny.
those
Great
Fallout
question.
orbs.
AOG, thank you very much for writing in. The next one comes from the man Super Shocker. He writes in and says, good evening, bros. I'm wondering if you still use printed guides. He said, I just got through Breath of the Wild, and I can't imagine not using a guide to find all the things in that game. He says, I've tried guides on my iPad, but for me, it's not the same. Next up is The Witcher 3 on Switch, and once again, I'm getting the physical guide to reference as I go through that monster of a game. Thoughts? Spicy? You go first. LOL.
Super Shocker. Oh,
Inside,
he knows.
inside joke.
He already knows what I'm gonna say. I don't like guides. I like playing raw. So I'm not a guide guy.
For me, I've definitely I love for my for Christmas, someone got me, my sister-in-law, my favorite sister, my newly favorite sister-in-law, got me the Red Dead Redemption hardcover collector's guide, and I've loved it and I used it, and I'm the same way. I could not see doing it digitally. There's just something about having that physical copy. You appreciate it more, I think.
Well, they're more collector's items. I
agree.
Like. You know what I mean?
That's
'Cause they
exactly
have
how I feel.
They always have the concept art in it. They have
Character
different,
art,
and all
stuff
that
like that.
stuff. Like The Witcher, I got the guide for The Witcher, and it came with actually a whole separate book of just Witcher small tales, which added more lore to it. They're designed in that old style, book style. So I mean, I think they're more collector items. So I would prefer physical stuff too.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
Maybe I'd like it if it came in like books like that.
Oh,
I don't know. I've never really purchased stuff like
so
that.
the Red
Witcher
Dead one,
one,
I was surprised at how
and they always give you a map.
it's hardcover and it's just solid. And at the beginning, it's like each character's biography, like a little backstory on them. And in that game, the map
Because I think that's
sweet.
good reading material while you're in the bathroom.
No, it is.
Red flag that book. You know what I'm saying?
I do feel like it adds to the game experience because there's multiple ways you can use that guide. For instance, it's more of a reference. Like if I want to know, okay, what is the best horse? I can open up that guide and it has all the horses, all their stats,
Excel
the whole
spreadsheets.
shot.
They actually have it
They
in
have
Excel,
the Excel
spreadsheet
spreadsheets.
form.
There you go, right in there.
See, I like doing that. I don't want someone else to do that. That's half the
No,
fun.
but that's why I appreciate it. Now I'm sure there's like the cheap primo guides that aren't hardcover collectors ones, but she gave me the hardcover collectors, right? And it's exactly what Jordan says. It's nice.
Yeah, they're just nice. Yeah.
I'm about the journey, not the destination kind of a person.
What
you know what I mean?
really like is most of those actually come with maps, and I like to frame the maps and put them on the wall.
Oh, that's cool. I dig that. That's good.
So
good.
I have the Witcher
Can you
map.
dig it? Yes, we can.
I have the Witcher map framed on the wall, and then right next to it, I have a map of Skyrim in a frame on the wall.
What is
I
the
like that.
greatest map in a game of all time?
The Red Dead Redemption 1, because it came with that smoking hot chick on the other side.
I have that.
True.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
mean,
hanging
it was
up,
actually just
but
a
it's in
plastic map, but if you flipped it over, it had that smoking
Where'd
hot.
it go? I used to have it on that shelf. We could have pulled it out. Yeah, she's got it was Bonnie.
Was it Bonnie or was it
No, it was
I think
Bonnie
it was,
McFarland.
Yeah, it was Bonnie.
Yeah.
I think it was someone else.
No, it was Bonnie. I
'Cause
had
she was
it.
like lifting up her dress.
Oh,
and she was, like,
he is right. He's right.
Yeah.
Bonnie McFarland was.
I
Or
have
maybe
it.
wasn't there two sides?
go get it.
Wasn't there two sides? Maybe Bonnie McFarland was on the cover.
I don't know, but I know it was the girl.
I know
She like
the-
was
she has
looking
black
at
hair-
you,
she has
and
black
she like
hair.
lifted up, showing
Yeah.
her gun, which was her leg, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to mess with her. But anyway, yeah. No, I like physical copies or physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look it up later.
find it
Yeah,
after the show.
but anyway,
That'll be a post-show
Great
thing.
questions, Super Shocker. Thank you very much for writing in. Barbara Blake writes in and says, your hair gardener is here with a few questions. He says,
Oh, right.
achievements. Why do people like them? Why do they make us feel good? Do they always make you feel good? Are there any that make you feel stupid or angry when you get them? He says, Spicy, Jordan the Man, and myself have been popping some super rare achievements this week, and it made us pretty happy. Why does it make us feel that way? Does anyone else care about achievements that you get? I mean, there's a whole industry on achievements. There's whole websites on achievements.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the sense of accomplishment. It's like it adds to your gaming credentials, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's especially the rare one. And they did a good job of adding like that
Oh, I think
diamond,
yeah.
that bling to it. There are ones that make you angry. Basically, and there it
That
is.
one there.
There it is. Spicy
That's the
on
good one to
on his
hear.
A game. That is a good one. And it's like, oh yes, and it's just that little dopamine hit that gives it to you, that feels good. And then I think there's that collectionist, completionist aspect of it that I really like this game. I want to 100% it.
Yeah.
You make that decision and go for it. I think it's genius. I think it's a
Yep.
genius invention.
Nope. I have my opinion on this. I'll say it in a very polite way,
Say it in a polite way.
because usually I say it in a crass.
I'm gonna
way.
say it too. I know exactly what he's gonna
Well,
say.
no, I'm not gonna say that one. Should I say that one?
No, I'm gonna say. Well, let me just say. I just like showing how much better I am at games.
Oh
than
yeah,
Jordan.
yeah. No. Yeah, basically you can say how much better you are than people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's great.
Compared to
everything you said, David, is absolutely correct. But there's also an aspect of I'm better than you.
Yeah,
that-
there's an ego to it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like me and Jordan, I think we do this like every couple months. We go through. Oh, okay, let's see. I'm better at
What-
you at
let's
this game.
compare
You're better at
games.
me at this game. Is that what you're gonna say, Jordan? Well, I
yeah,
think you did
pretty
say it.
much. Well, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. It's just you can show off.
What's the crass way?
It's your virtual ball size. That's what it is. It's how
It's your virtual.
Yeah.
Well, like for example, when you come across someone, you're like, that guy has 1 million gamer score.
Like,
That
you
guy-
respect him.
He is flexing nuts.
He
Like,
is.
he is, yeah, and you're like,
Hard.
whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, like it really is. It's just it's a fun way to kind of compete with your friends too, right? It's just like, oh, you got that lone wolf achievement. I'm gonna try and go for that, right?
The one that I want and I tried for a long time is the Halo 2 Legendary Lone Wolf achievement.
pretty hard. I actually think Halo 2 is the hardest Halo
It's
game
so difficult
on Legendary.
because of the stupid space station section. Oh gosh.
Speaking
Well,
of
and
that,
then there's that other it's space. I think it's called High Charity at the end. That one's like There's so many impossible levels on it. That one's hard. I think that is the hardest Halo game.
Speaking of that, the boy Will writes in and says, "What is your proudest competitive multiplayer moment?" He says, "Mine was beating a clan of elites in Rainbow Six Vegas with randoms. We were much lower ranked, but we communicated well and adapted to their playstyle in order to become victorious. I was excited. I accidentally left the match as soon as it ended and didn't get to celebrate with my team, but that's his proudest multiplayer PvP moment, competitive multiplayer moment." Spicy. Do you have one that really pops out for you?
Well, yeah, back in the Halo 3 days, I was really proud of my score because I think that's one of the best ranking systems ever made. I was, out of 50, I was 48, which was, if you knew that score, like that was a big deal. And you had to maintain it. Like if you lose, it goes down. If you win, it goes up. That's probably, to give you context, that's probably the top 2%, I would say, that played that game. Which is, I was really proud of that number.
Yeah.
Really proud of that number.
Because you got to think you're not going to win every game, right?
Yeah,
So
and
it was a win-loss type. Yeah, it was tough.
It was tough, and it was public matches, so you never knew who was going to be on your team or not, and everything. So that was a big deal for me.
Nice. I'm
really proud of that one. That was back in my
your heyday,
when my thumbs were more lean.
Well, it is interesting. Like as kids, you play more, so you're better, and you forget. At least I did, because I'm an idiot. You forget it takes time to get good at games. Over the last year, I've improved in many games much more because I played more than I've ever played in a while, right?
Yeah.
Jordan, how about you? Multiplayer event or the one that stands out to you?
I don't know. It's hard to think. I've had so many, I don't know. I always there's something about when you just get a good snipe to the head.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I
feel like universally, I'm just gonna kind of cheat and say that I feel like universally when in games when you just get a snipe to the head and you're just like
you get that crunch.
Ooh. I mean, you always even though you're in the middle of a firefight, you always just kind of lean back for a minute and just let the world slows down. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And you're just like, oh yes, you know what I mean? So
and there's games that have great snipers, like the Apex Kraber. When you just dome somebody in the head, you almost just stop and you just. You can feel the wind on your face.
Yeah,
you just appreciate life.
Really good. Hey, I did want to say, going back to the achievement talk, I do stand corrected. The hardest achievements are when the MCC came out with those lasso achievements.
What are the lasso achievements?
Legendary All Skulls On is what they're called.
Oh
those are physically
I didn't know those were.
Yeah,
those
and then there's
existed.
another term people call it Slasso, which is solo Legendary All Skulls On. I don't think they have any achievements for that, but they have
has
lasso.
anybody ever done that?
I don't know. They're rare
because
achievements.
those skulls.
But the chat just mentioned the lasso achievements.
If you just add the grenade skull, they just sit there and throw grenades at you 24/7.
And you can't really do it with. I mean, you can do it with friends, right? But isn't there a skull that if one of you die, you all revert back to the checkpoint? Like it's those achievements.
That's how you ruin friendships.
Yeah,
that's the skull. That's called the ruined friendship.
The ruined
skull.
friendship.
The breakup skull.
You died, and then you all get reverted back to the I do stand corrected. Those are probably the hardest achievements to
Can
get.
you imagine Legendary Halo 2 with all those on
all
solo?
skulls on. Yep.
I can't even do it by myself.
Legendary All Skulls
I
On.
like my multiplayer achievement. I like decision. I like when there's a clear decision to make.
Smart play.
And you're like, okay, I can do X or I can do Y.
And you pull out with Z.
And you do it and it pays off. In Madden Online, it happens all the time. Like, okay, do I go for the extra point? Okay, let's just go for it. And then you do it. Or in Vigor, that's I think why I like a game like Vigor where there's a decision. 2 weeks ago, I'm trying to go for kills and I'm sitting outside this door. And normally when you're inside the house, you've got the advantage if someone's coming in, right? And I know the guy's in there. I know he's behind the door, and I'm sitting there. I peek through the window. He's not there. I go back to the front door. He's cranked. His gun is pointed right at me, and what do? I say, okay, F it. And I rush in sideways. He doesn't expect the rush. First one, headshot to the head or shot to the head. Game over. And that decision, that you made that decision and it paid off, feels so good.
Yeah.
Anyways, great question.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Great question. Thank you very much for writing that question in. But boy, Will, well done. Last couple questions here. We got one from Dark Knight. Dark Knight says, Madden 21 is almost upon us. With games as a service and multiple expansions to extend the life of games, would you like to see Madden go a similar route with updated rosters as an expansion versus so-called new Madden every year. Side note, if anyone is interested in joining the XoneBros Madden Franchise League this year, DM me on Discord. That's right, Dark Knight is the manager of our XoneBros Madden League. It is fantastic. Come over to Discord. There's actually a Madden channel in Discord. That's one of our most active channels continually. Even though Madden, we're getting ready for a new Madden here coming up, the league still goes strong. So thank you, Dark Knight. He puts a lot of hard work and does a fantastic job of that. Thank you very much for that. But yes, I think any of the sports games should go more this games as a service.
10-year plan?
10-year plan. I would take as a DLC every season instead of a brand new game. I think the issue there maybe is that you divide your player base, but your player base is divided anyways, especially with like an EA Access where
you have to buy a new game every
you got to
year,
get
so
the new games. You're already
them, right?
divided, yeah. So I think you do. I think you
how would you do it though? Would you do like maybe $30 roster update type thing, or
Well, and then there's technology drops too. I think the technology drops are free, and you do a battle pass style. You already basically do a battle. What kills me, this is why the $70 price on NBA 2K was so wrong and abrasive, because you've already got battle pass type stuff. You've got card packs that you're buying. They've already monetized these games in so many ways. It is a game of service, but we're also, because we're dumbasses, paying $60 for it as well, right? Like,
yeah.
I think Madden absolutely should go to a game of service. I think it would.
Even if you do it on a 2 to 3 year cycle, you know what I mean? You don't need to do it on a huge.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. I think every other year cycle would be really good for Madden, because sometimes you get really great improvements, and then sometimes they bring you an improvement that actually breaks the game.
Yeah.
You'd also have consistency in multiplayer. So, for instance, multiplayer meta this year is completely different than it was in last year's Madden, right? Because you've changed different physics and way that things work in the game. Last year maybe was all last year was all running. This year's all passing, right? And so they always it's constantly changing. I think you'd get more consistency.
I do think that's an uphill battle though for consumers telling the developer to do that, because I feel like Madden, like Call of Duty, is just guaranteed money.
It's guaranteed money.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just
Spicy is over this topic. He really is.
I'm just gonna wait until I don't know what to say to this.
Spicy, we should get a lazy. You could just lay on the couch.
I'd love to. Okay, I'll be right back.
I actually think, Spicy, we need to get you into FIFA. With sports games, if you don't know the sport as like a player side of it, right? The playability, it's this extra
learning dynamic
curve, that doesn't exist. You would enjoy FIFA, although FIFA frustrates the hell out of you. You would.
I used to play all the FIFAs when I was younger.
Remember when they came out with that one FIFA and it was just all of a sudden really hard?
Oh yeah.
Like they added the you have to kick
the hard mod.
Yeah, well they added the you have to kick it accurately mechanic. And I was like,
which is actually really good.
That's probably when I stopped playing.
No, it was really good because you couldn't just from midfield shoot.
Upper V.
Yeah.
You had more control over it, but as a result, you actually
realized how much you suck.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know how many times I whiffed the goal? Breakaway, and you're like, oh yeah, and you just do it, and you're like, oh, why did I lob it when I was 2 feet away?
Last question.
It's like real life.
Yeah. Last question comes from our man Teeth Sweat. Teeth Sweat writes in and says, "Hey bros, have you purchased a game that was leaving or has left Game Pass?" He said, "Yesterday I purchased a game that I was enjoying, but perhaps I was just 50% complete. If your goal is to extract as much value from Game Pass as possible, you never purchase games that were available on Game Pass. On the other hand, Game Pass may have exposed you to a title you wouldn't have otherwise tried, and you should reward the developers by purchasing their game. Add that to the fact that you're getting value from the buy. Still, I can't shake the feeling that I did pay twice for this game. What are your thoughts?"
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a really good question. It's like this catch-22 almost, right?
There's Jordan's great with this because he does this a lot. What was that game we bought when it was coming?
State of Decay.
State of Decay. We've talked about it on the show before, but Jordan calls me up a week before it comes out. "Hey, you want to waste your money? Let's buy that game because then we could play it early. You know, it comes out free in a week, but we could play it now." And I'm like, "Okay." And then you have the games where you buy it. This has happened to me several times, and I think they know my IP address or something. They know when I buy it because the next month it comes out on Game Pass, and it's like, oh, great. Well, I think it's because they do a deal first, and then I can't help but buy it. and then it goes to Game Pass, and you're like, oh, whatever. At the same time, I do enjoy supporting good developers or games that I like. For example, Hearthstone. It's a free-to-play game. You can actually get the cards for free by just doing the dailies. But every expansion that comes out, I will purchase the big card pack. I get value from it, but I also, in my mind, know that I'm supporting a good game and good development, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the situation. It feels sucky when you buy it and then it goes on Game Pass and you feel like, oh geez, why did I even buy this?
Yeah.
But it's a two-edged sword because you are supporting the developer if it's a good game and you want to support
and that's where
it,
it's a double-edged sword for a developer too. Like we're on Game Pass, so maybe we're not getting as many purchases, but yet we're also getting exposure, which in the end might be more purchases for us and DLC purchases and stuff like. It's very interesting, but it can be a catch-22 because sometimes you do end up paying twice for a game. But that ultimately rewards the developer. And if you like a game that much to get it twice, then do it.
Yeah, I've purchased Stardew Valley on every single thing. Even
Skyrim I have on like everything.
It's the only game I purchased on my phone. That game's awesome on your phone. They added some mechanics to the phone that I think they should add to the regular console or my PC. It's just smart what they did.
Hey, speaking of a game that's coming to console that I'm very excited for, is Temtem. Do you guys know Temtem? So Temtem it's only on PC right now.
Oh no, it's on console.
It's coming to console. It's not yet on console.
Oh, I was thinking Tabs.
Yeah, Tabs. Tabs is
that one's
hilarious.
funny.
I beat that game.
That's a fun couchcast.
Yeah.
Future couchcast. Tabs.
That's a good one. It's not multiplayer though, unfortunately.
It is
on
local.
PC. Oh, it's local.
Local
okay.
multiplayer. Yeah.
Cool.
So couchcast. But
So
Temtem
yeah.
is Pokemon. It's this Pokemon game that was created on the PC. It is coming to both the Xbox and the PlayStation in 2021, and I cannot wait to have Pokemon on my Xbox. Very excited.
Yeah.
Don't know why that came up, but
Temtem. What's it about?
Temtem.
I mean, it's Pokemon. That's it. Like
you're a trainer. You're running around. You're
just like Pokemon Gold and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly. I think there's obviously like a little bit different mechanics, but it's essentially Pokemon.
but it's not Pokemon, right? It's
Temtem.
It's not Pikachu. It's Pikawoo.
Yeah.
It's lightning.
Lightning
Mouse.
Lightning Bunny.
I'm very excited for Temtem. Anyways, that's just me. Great questions, guys. Thank you very much for writing in.
Sounds like a Chinese candy, doesn't it?
It might be. Maybe Tencent makes it. I don't know.
Oh, that's probably true. They make everything.
Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in and listening. What are Spicy and Jordan, before we exit out of here, what are your game plans for this week? Anything new that you're starting and exciting?
Probably Halo, Hyperscape.
Oh,
Me and Jordan and Blake from the audience, we've been playing.
When
the Master Chief.
Actually,
what number are you on?
Reach.
We're on Reach right now.
Oh.
Jordan and Blake the Barber beat 1 and 2, and then I joined in 3 and ODST, and now we're on Reach.
And then what was really fun when the three of us played Halo 5 this week.
Halo 5
That was actually, and we won. We played how many games? We won. We won all our games. It was actually really fun.
Pulled them out.
Really fun. So we should do that again.
That was fun.
I died a lot. It was great.
Yeah, but we won. So you did good things. You know.
You did good things. No, that's a fun Halo 5. Sometimes when you don't play multiplayer games for a while and then you jump back into them, you forget how good. You're reminded of how good they are.
You know, Halo 5, I do really like its multiplayer. I think they did a good job.
I
That being
do
said,
like the
I wouldn't
addition-
mind them slowing it down for the next one.
Oh, really? No, see, I like the addition of the burst stuff. I think that's
I think,
good
yeah,
addition.
I wouldn't be disappointed if they take that out just to slow it down a little bit. You know what I mean?
I like it as a defensive
Yeah.
move. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Fun game. No, that was really fun
Spicy, anything other than Halo that you're playing?
Hearthstone came out with a new expansion. I'll be playing that. New cards, stuff like that. Well, not new card packs, which is really good. So
That is cool.
I'm addicted. I've
is
been
where-
addicted to that game for like 6 years.
This is where I think Hearthstone. Another reason Hearthstone should make physical cards. I follow this guy on YouTube. All he does is buy Pokemon cards and open up the.
That
pack.
guy was hilarious.
I love watching him, and I love he has so many cards and he knows everything about them, and I love. Just imagine if you could do that with Hearthstone, even if they're not playable. Just make the cards that are in the game, right? Like, it would be so cool. Or Gwent, do it for Gwent too. I'd buy those cards as well. Gwent is less so though.
I wonder if you can't, like, how do you do the discovery mechanic? There's got to be a way. It's got to be a way.
Like a roll of the dice or something? I don't know.
Yeah, you could do it that way. You would just have to have quick references of all the dragons, all the pirates, all the et
you
cetera.
do like a reference card or something.
That'd be great. That'd be really fun. I would totally play that.
Dude, if they did a Hearthstone Pokemon style card pack or Magic the Gathering, and you could go every week, I'd be like, Spicy, I'm gonna go get another Hearthstone pack. You want to come with me?
China made one.
Did they?
Yeah, it's based on like the original beta version.
Oh, okay.
So you could
We'll grab those.
Yeah, you could probably buy those. So anyways.
Anyways, guys, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being here. Again, if you haven't, come over to YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Big things are happening. We're dropping videos every day. Well, daily over on the YouTube channel. Weekly, monthly. It's a great place to come. Support us there.
Yeah.
It is a great place to be.
We have 8 seconds left before this.
You need caffeine.
That's why I want to go another Mountain Dew.
You got 3 Mountain Dews over there?
See you guys.